for the first 5 games.
But they're still down 3 games to 2 as Jim Palmer looks in. And the first pitch to Omar Marino hit over the mound behind second into center field for a base hit. So Jim Palmer, his first pitch of the evening, a base hit. And now Foley, Parker, and Stargell. And we will see about Marino. And the question again, what about Palmer's move to first?
Good move to first, bad move going to the plate. You are going to see Marino run. I'll be so surprised if he don't run in the first 2 pitches.
Marino was picked off first base by Sammy Stewart in Pittsburgh. So Omar taking a cautious lead. Eddie Murray holding the bag on him. Just the start of the ball game as Marino opens up with a single. And now here's Tim Foley. Foley hitting .333 in the series. He has 7 hits, including a triple and 3 runs batted in. And now Eddie Murray going to the mound to talk to Palmer. No doubt about when he is coming over. And there's also a distinct possibility of even playing hit and run with Foley.
Well, I'm hoping that Foley won't swing the bat if Marino goes, because I like to see Marino go on his own if I'm managing.
And it's interesting to see now Rick Dempsey, who's had a big time throwing out runners. There goes Marino, and the ball is hit off the glove of DeCinces down into foul ground. Marino is into third. Foley goes into second base, standing with a double, and the Pirates are in business.
Marino had that base stolen. He had a great jump, but they were hitting and running, as you said.
So they played hit and run, and with DeCinces up inside the bag, he tried to leap and backhand the ball and went off his glove down near a tarp roller in the left field corner. And the Bucks at second and third, nobody out, with Parker, Stargell, and Milner. And that means Palmer has made 2 pitches for 2 hits.
And that infield's hard. That ball took a high hop. All it was a ground ball to DeCinces, and it just took that hard hop and was up too high for him to handle.
First base open, and the Pirates come off the bench swinging now. And I wonder if that's part of the plan. Go after Palmer right away.
Pirates will go after everybody. Their last ball game over there in Pittsburgh, they looked like the Pirates, and tonight they're going to come the same way.
So here's Dave Parker. Parker with second and third and nobody out, hitting .429. He has 9 hits. Palmer delivers. Fastball grounded inside third. Smothered by DeCinces, who throws. Got him. Oh, what a big play by Doug DeCinces.
Great play, but the better play was made by Marino on third base. He held his ground. Both guys would have took off for the plate. DeCinces would have nailed him at the plate.
And if DeCinces doesn't make that great diving stop of the ball, it's down the line for 2 runs. Great play by Doug DeCinces.
Excuse me, that's when you really see great baseball. Great fielding play, but even a greater play by the runner. I'd love to see a runner know what it's all about.
So Palmer dodged the bullet there on that shot by Parker. Now he has to look at Wilbur Stargell. Stargell hitting .381 with 2 home runs, 4 runs batted in. And they're going to pitch to him with 1 out and John Milner on deck. First base open, but they're going after him. Palmer delivers, and it's hopped in the air, foul. Here comes DeCinces. He's there. He's got it.
You know, Vince, I'll be very honest with you. If Palmer gets out of this situation, this is going to really change this ball game right here in the first inning.
So Jim Palmer had a big play by Doug DeCinces to take an extra base and 2 runs away from Dave Parker. Now Stargell's first ball swinging fouls out. So here's John Milner. On deck is Bill Madlock. Palmer's probably made, without really counting, about 5 pitches. And we've had 4 balls hit. So Milner, left-hand hitter waiting, and Palmer delivers. Inside under the elbow is ball 1. Milner is 3 for 6 in the series.
3 for 6, and Palmer's not throwing real hard yet, Vince. In fact, I would say, just guessing at the gun, he's around 84, 85.
He said his last game he had a knot in his back, and it took him about 3 innings to loosen up. 1 ball and no strikes to John Milner. No score, 2 out in the first inning. And Palmer delivers, and a fastball in there for a strike. 1-1. When Palmer went last against the Bucks, he gave up 8 hits, 2 earned runs in 7 innings. No decision. The Pirates went on to win that game 3-2. 1-1 to John Milner. 2 down, runners at second and third. No score. Palmer, a high set. Back he comes. Milner straightens up. A pitch in on the chest. Ball 2.
I really like to watch this rugby umpire. He gets down right on that knee and watch his head. Nothing ever moves. He's one of those umpires that never moves anything.
2 balls and 1 strike to John Milner. Down the line from third, Omar Marino. Away from second, Foley. But they were there with nobody out. They're still there with 2 gone. 2-1 pitch. Fastball hit back to Palmer. He's going to do it himself and run to the bag.
Talk about dodging the bullets, man. He dodged it.
So the Pittsburgh Pirates have second and third and nobody out, and they come away empty-handed. And at the end of half an inning, Pirates nothing. Baltimore coming up.
This is Esther Peterson. I'm President Carter's Special Assistant for Consumer Affairs. I have a tip for you on coping with the high cost of energy. To drive down high gasoline bills, keep your car in tune. A poorly tuned car can use as much as 3 to 9% more fuel than a well-tuned one. Regular tune-ups not only save you gas, but can extend the engine life and performance. And remember, when you're on the highway, stick to the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. Most automobiles get 20% more miles per gallon at 55 than at 70. When you're buying a new car, keep in mind that all those extra options like air conditioning and automatic transmission and power steering require energy. And for a free copy of more inflation-fighting ideas, write Inflation, Pueblo, Colorado 81009. That's Inflation, Pueblo, Colorado 81009. It can help you save money.
Inning in this large, highly exuberant crowd, delighted now after the Bucks had Moreno single and Foley double into third. A tremendous play by Doug DeCinces, taking an extra base hit away from Dave Parker and preventing 2 runs from scoring. Stargell fouled out. Milner hit back to the box, and Palmer, who ran to first to make the out himself, has certainly led Baltimore out of a terrible jam in the first inning. And DeCinces' play, for all we know, will decide now the entire series.
Yes, did he remind you of somebody you seen last October?
I should say so. Greg Nettles now suddenly popping up in a Baltimore uniform. Well, the Stargell Bucks now, they've got to go to the leather, and it'll be John Candelaria on the hill, Ed Ott behind the plate, Wilbur Stargell, Bill Garner, Tim Foley, and Bill Matlock, John Milner, Omar Moreno, and Dave Parker.
Charlie Canner, I think you called the hit and run. I said I didn't think he'd swing, but I forgot one thing. Charlie Canner has earned great respect for Mr. Dempsey.
I should say. John Candelaria has had 2 really bright moments in his young career. One was when he struck out 14 Reds in a 75 championship game. Another when he pitched a no-hitter against the Los Angeles Dodgers. But neither of those would be the biggest thrill of his baseball life. Instead, it would be a game he pitched against the New York Mets. It was his first big league victory. He's from New York, a Puerto Rican kid who grew up in the city. He was matched against Tom Seaver before 53,000. Right now, he's pitching to Kiko Garcia, and the fastball fouled away. He led Seaver 1-0 going into the 8th inning. They batted for Seaver and tied up the game, but in the 9th, the Pirates got 4. And before his mom and dad and family and 53,000, he beat the Mets. That has always been the biggest game in his life. The strike 1 pitch is loose to center. Marino is going to have to play it on a bounce. And Kiko Garcia, who came up there hitting .429, is now 7 for 15.
His bat don't know where the fielders are.
Benny Ayala is 2 for 3 in his brief appearances in the series. Did you see enough of Ayala during the year to think about hit and run?
We never even seen him. He played the last game we played against him. They put him in about the 5th inning and hit a home run off us. And that's the only time I've seen him.
Well, Ayala with a home run in the series, 2 runs batted in. Right-hand batter. On deck, the switch-hitting Ken Singleton. Candelaria, 6 feet 7. Out of his stretch, the left-handed delivers. Fastball outside, ball 1.
You know, Vince, since they saved Game 4 against the California Angels in the playoffs with that great play, and he could be saving the World Series for him right here.
He should indeed, because he put a roadblock against Pirate momentum. The 1-0 pitch, a sinker in there for a strike, 1-1. Jim Fry coaching at first. Cal Ripken over at third. So they're after each other in Game 6, with Baltimore trying to close it out. They've won 3 of 5. The 1-1 pitch on the way. Outside, ball 2, 2-1.
Candy doesn't look like he's throwing real hard velocity either, right around that 85.
No, it looks like he's actually trying to turn the ball over and throw sinkers.
He's dropping down a lot more than he normally does.
He has a bad back. It's ever since childhood. The 2-1 pitch is a fastball foul back 2-2. When Candelario was growing up in New York, he fell down, as I understand it, a flight of cement stairs. And as John said, his back should have been operated on, but if he had the operation, he'd never be able to play baseball. So he bites the bullet and pitches in pain. Bruce Thiessen is pitching back of him. The 2-2 fastball is lifted into shallow left field. Foley going out, Milner and Marino coming, and it's Marino, the center fielder. So Ayala, fly ball, 1 away. And now the switch-hitting Kenny Singleton coming out. Singleton hitting .333. 2 runs batted in. He has 1 extra base hit, a double. And, of course, on deck, Eddie Murray. That's the 1-2 punch for the Birds. Chico Garcia off the bag at first, held on by Wilbur Stargell. Candelaria, left foot on the rubber, looks down to Ed Ott. The infield is back, the outfield straight away and deep and left. And a sinker is low. Ball 1-0. I haven't seen him throw a breaking ball yet.
Hasn't thrown a breaking ball yet, and he hasn't really, the last pitch he made to Ayala was Ayala's pitch. It was up.
1 ball and no strikes to Singleton. Candelaria, breaking ball, and he got it over for a strike. So he's become a sidearm left-hander tonight.
Yeah, I've never seen him drop down this far. Although last year when he was having a little trouble, he did drop down more like this.
When Jerry Royce was with Pittsburgh, eventually now with the Los Angeles Dodgers, Royce said he became spoiled because Candelaria threw so many breaking balls that Royce tried to do the same thing. Well, tonight he's thrown 1 breaking ball so far. 1-1 fastball on the outside corner, strike 2, 1-2. Pirates with second and third and nobody out. Parker, Stargell, and Milner, and they came up empty. And now here comes Baltimore. Garcia at first with 1 out. Just the first inning. Candelaria ready, and the 1-2 pitch to Singleton. Candyman delivers outside and low. Ball 2, 2-2.
The ball is moving good, though, Benny. He's not throwing overly hard, but the ball has great movement.
Each time you see him drop and throw so sidearm, and then you see at the last moment he rolls that wrist inwardly. He's trying to throw sinkers and keep the ball on the ground. 2-2 to Singleton. Candelaria delivers, sinker, hit to the hole. Foley can't get it. Base hit into left field. Holding at second base is Garcia.
That's that fast infield for playing football on it. That ball just went right on through.
And now with first and second and 1 out, the chance against Eddie. And of course that's for Eddie Murray. During the series, hitting only .222. He has a home run and 2 runs batted in. He hit the home run here against Bert Blyleven. So first the Pirates made a charge and were turned away, and the Birds come after John Candelaria. A fluke single by Garcia, a ground ball single in the left field for Singleton. Murray hitting right-handed, and the outfield fanned out about straight away. Moreno just about up the middle. Candelaria out of a stretch and deals. Sinker in there at the knees. 0-1. I think that might have been the hardest pitch he's made so far tonight.
That ball had the best velocity on it. You're right, Ben.
0-1, the count to Eddie Murray. On deck is the fellow who has really saved the Birds' speed, Doug DeCinces. Now the strike 1 pitch. Candelaria's breaking ball. Fisted foul. Off to the right, out of play in the first row, just to the left of the Pirate dugout. 0-2. So that's his second breaking ball. And it's the first breaking ball where he really challenged the hitter. He came in on the hands with it. Murray backs out, 0-2. The temperature at game time, a fairly tropical 61 degrees. 1 out and 2 on. First inning, no score. Garcia at second, Singleton at first. Strike 2, fastball is hit slowly to Madlock. He steps on third and doubles Murray at first. And the Pirates are out of the jam. 2 hits and a man left, and at the end of an inning, no score.
This is Esther Peterson, President Carter's Special Assistant for Consumer Affairs, with a tip for you on coping with the high cost of energy. If you plan to buy a gas oven or range, look for one that has an electronic ignition system instead of pilot lights. You'll save an average of 47% of the gas use in cooking. If you already own a gas stove, make sure the pilot light is burning with a blue flame. A yellowish flame indicates an adjustment is needed. Electric burners stay hot for some time after they've been turned off. Get in the habit of turning them off a few minutes before the allotted cooking time. They'll stay hot long enough to finish cooking without using any more electricity. That will save you money. And for a free copy of more inflation-fighting ideas, write Inflation, Pueblo, Colorado 81009. That's Inflation, Pueblo, Colorado 81009. It can help you save money.
NFL Monday Night Football, college football postseason play, Super Bowl 14. Horse racing with the Washington, D.C. International, the Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes. Pro golf, pro tennis, and don't forget the 1980 Winter and Summer Olympics. All year round, CBS is your #1 radio network for sports. We're going to the second inning. No score in the ball game, but we've shaken up Memorial Stadium already. The Pirates second and third and nobody out couldn't score. And the Orioles had first and second and 1 out. And Eddie Murray hit into a double play. So now in the second inning, Bill Madlock, who started the double play defensively, will start off the inning with the bat. He'll be followed by Phil Garner and then Ed Ott. Madlock, building on his batting average in the series, he now is batting .500, 9 for 18 with 3 runs batted in. Although it is interesting, the RBI men, Phil Garner for the Pirates has 5, and Kiko Garcia leading Baltimore with a half a dozen. So here's Madlock to start it off. Remember how the Pirates were first ball swinging against Palmer in the first inning. We'll see how they go now in inning number 2. And I see now that the lineup that we had is not quite right, as Palmer's fastball is high, ball 1. Ed Ott is batting behind Madlock, and Garner is hitting number 8. The pitch to Madlock is high, ball 2, 2-0. Palmer into the windup. The 2-0 pitch to Madlock is a ground ball wide to third, one-handed by that man DeCinces, and he throws him out. Doug DeCinces. Another good play. Of course, that was nothing compared to that clutch play he took on Parker. And here is Ed Ott. Ott is hitting .250 in the series. He hasn't played that much. He's 2 for 8. He and Steve Nicosia have been alternating behind the plate. Ott goes against right-handers. Palmer ready, over the top, and the fastball high. Ball 1, 1-0.
You know, if you think in the last 10 years, then Brooks Robinson, DeCinces, and Greg Nettles control the World Series.
Here's the 1-0 pitch on the way, and Oddie takes high, ball 2. And remember in the old days when third base is where you put a second baseman or a shortstop who slowed down.
They put the big cloud over there and just stand there.
Here's the 2-0 pitch. Ott takes a strike. One of the big differences in the game of baseball in the last 10 years, the fact that there's no place to hide a weak defensive player.
No, they find you. Somewhere or another, they will find you.
Here's the 2-1 pitch to Ed Ott. And there's a ground ball to short. Garcia picks it up and over to Eddie Murray. 2 down. In the old days, you'd have a pretty good hitting outfielder with no arms. He'd stick into the left field. You'd have somebody who, maybe a catcher, and you wanted to get an extra bat in the lineup, you'd put him at first base. But with AstroTurf, it'd destroy you.
Not only that, it's the athletes today. They've gotten so big and strong, and they still can run like deers, and they're just bigger and stronger and quicker today.
Here's Phil Garner, and what a series he has had. Garner hitting .500, 9 for 18, 5 runs batted in. Takes the fastball at the mustache. Ball 1. No score. Top of the second inning. Candelaria on deck. Palmer into that easy windup over the top and drops it in there nicely for a strike. Boy, he's a machine.
Yeah, he's a machine, and I think he's starting to get a little more velocity on the ball. About the third inning, if they don't get him, they might be in trouble.
1 ball and 1 strike. The count to Phil Garner. Palmer hesitates a moment. Both feet back on the rubber, and he looks into Rick Dempsey. Outfield straight away on Garner. The 1-1 pitch, fastball, fouled away. Off to the right, out of play, 1-2. Al Munchak coaching at first. Joe Lynette over at third for Chuck Tanner's crew. No score, top of the second inning is Jim Palmer reading Rick Dempsey. And the 1-2 pitch, curveball, and he bounced it in front of the plate, and actually he took a lot off. It looked like the pitch died of exhaustion on its way up to home plate.
That's the lack of gravity there.
2-2. Palmer into the windup, and the pitch to Garner. Inside, he checked his swing and fell down to make sure he wouldn't go around. 3-2 the count. So with 2 out, Palmer has retired 5 in a row, but thanks to DeCinces, if you missed it, you missed maybe the biggest play of the series. With second and third and nobody out in the first inning, it looked like the Pirates were trying to chase Palmer out of Memorial Stadium. And Parker's bid for an extra base hit foiled by Doug DeCinces. Fastball, and that's whacked into center field for a base hit. Up with it there, and getting it back in is Gary Renicky. So that's the 3rd hit for the Pirates, and for Phil Garner, what a story. He's 10 for 19.
He don't want this all to end, really. He says this is fun.
As we have pointed out throughout the series, that base hit by the number 8 man, particularly with 2 out, is always important, if for no other reason than you get your pitcher out of the way for the following inning. So here's Candelaria up there with 2 out in the second. Garner now has hit in all 6 games of the World Series, and he really has a 9-game hitting streak in postseason play as Candelaria fouls it away 0-1. Balls and 1 strike. Must be nice to see Candelaria if you're struggling with your control. At 6'7", he sure brings you a strike zone.
Yeah, him, Parker, and Stargell.
The fastball on the outside corner for a strike. Yeah, but the other 2 can do something with it.
Yeah, they can real quick.
0-2 to John Candelaria. No score. Top of the second, 2 out. Garner at first. Palmer, high set. Jim delivers. Swung on and missed. See you later. No runs to hit a man left. At the end of an inning and a half, no score.
Louise, did you see that computer seminar listed on the bulletin board? I'm going to apply to go. Oh, wise up, Betty. Mr. Kraft isn't going to send you or me to that one. Those seminars are strictly for future DOD management types. So, I am a management type. Kraft has given me very good evaluation. Oh, come on. He might send Ralph or Henry, but not us. Hey, do you remember old Mrs. Burns? Yeah? Well, she warned us about Kraft when we came. Ladies first, unless it's promotion time. Look, times change. Discrimination's out. Kraft knows that. Don't bet on it. Right next to that notice about the computer course, there was the DOD directive that says equal opportunity is top priority for all defense personnel. Did you read it? No. Well, Mr. Kraft did. Well, how do you know? Because he put it up. Well, maybe times do change. That's why they're not giving a seminar on how to use the abacus, Louise. That adds up.
And now the story lady.
Today's story is about the recruit who worried about her family if she were to become sick or disabled. One day, her fairy godmother said, "Take this magic key and put it under 24 mattresses, and your worries will be over." Doing just that, she climbed a tall ladder to bed. In a dream, a voice said, "Check your beneficiary status. If it's up to date, your family will be taken care of." Anxiously, she awoke and jumped out of bed, breaking nearly every bone in her body.
The Survivor's Benefit Plan, another military benefit.
The Pirates are taking infield with the worst-looking warm-up ball anywhere.
Yeah, they started the other day in Pittsburgh, that 4th game, and I guess maybe it's a good luck ball. It's orange and black, and you can't even hardly see it.
Maybe, though, it is a good idea because it makes those infielders really bear down to look for the ground ball.
Well, maybe so, but I think somebody came up with a little good luck charm.
Well, the Pirates have concluded their warm-up with that orange and black ball. And into the second, no score. What a hand should be for Doug DeCinces. Sensei, not doing much with the bat, but it doesn't make any difference when you have that magic in the leather as he has at third. Hitting only 176. Candelaria into the windup and delivers. Fastball fouled away, 0-1. The Sensei with a home run and 3 runs batted in. Let's pause 5 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS Radio Network.
This is SCN Radio, Suburban 90 for Clayton and 1420 for Davis.
The Sensei hit his home run against Bruce Keeson. The strike one fastball is spotted. Down to get it is Candelaria. Picks it up, throws to Scargill to get him. So the Sensei testing Candelaria and pushing one up along first base. The Candyman gets him one away. That'll bring up Gary Renicky, the center fielder. Renicky, another bird who has a lot of trouble with the bat, hitting only 167. Renicky with 2 hits, one of them a double, and 2 runs batted in. Gary, right-hand batter, playing center field with a left-hander going instead of Al Bumbry. Candelaria ready, delivers, and Renicky lets a high fly ball into shallow left center. Marino hollering that he has it, and Omar makes the catch for the out, 2 down. The Orioles, through 5 games in the World Series, a team batting average of only .251 and a team pitching earned run average of 4.5. And when you see that the Pirates have hit .339 and their ERA is under 4.5, it's 4.3, it's hard to really believe that Baltimore is leading 3 games to 2.
Reminds you of that series when the Yankees played the Pirates, and the Pirates end up winning. Then the Yankees knocked them down all day long, but they just couldn't put them away.
The pitch to Dower, missing, ball 1. 1-0 to Rich, right-hand hitting second baseman. Dower hitting .250. Candelaria's fastball is hit to Marino. Omar going back, turns now and makes the catch for the out. So the Orioles are gone in order, and at the end of 2, no score.
Duke? Oh, I wish I was John Wayne. I'll bet John Wayne doesn't have to worry about equal opportunity directives. I'll bet Clint Eastwood never has to ask himself whether he's discriminating against any DOD personnel. The movie military life, that's the one I want. I don't understand all this equal opportunity stuff. Of course, what it really says is to treat people fairly regardless of race, color, creed, surname, that kind of stuff. I mean, that's the American way. I saw that in Home of the Brave. And women, too. The Duke's a real He-Man, but he always treats women fair and square. I can relate to that. Just give everybody an equal shot at promotions and training and an opportunity. Sure, I'm going to walk into my office tomorrow just like Gary Cooper in that Billy Mitchell film. Upright, fair. Man, this director would make a great movie.
The third inning, no score in the ball game. Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Omar Marino followed by Tim Foley and then Dave Parker. Marino hit Jim Palmer's first pitch of the ball game up the middle for a base hit. Then you had the double by Foley and then the marvelous play by DeCince to keep it no score. Palmer tuning up to Rick Dempsey. If there is to be a 7th game in the World Series, Scott McGregor naturally will be going for Baltimore. But, of course, there's no way that anybody in the Pittsburgh camp can even talk about tomorrow. There's no sense even guessing.
No, there's no way they can even worry about tomorrow. They'll use everybody tonight, Vince, and they're just going to try to win this ball game and then worry about tomorrow.
In the first inning, when Candelaria gave up a couple of base hits, Bruce Keeson was throwing in the pen, and it could be that Keeson, his arm never did get loose and was actually hurting him in the cold because of the 61-degree weather, at least at the start of the game. He might prove effective and might very well be able to get into the game. Omar Marino asking for time, granted by Paul Runge. And Jim Palmer decides to kick the rosin bag out of the way. Might catch it out of the corner of his right eye and prove a distraction. Jim ready now and delivers, and the fastball in there for a strike, 0-1. 8 times Jim Palmer has won 20 games, 3 times the Cy Young Award winner. The strike one pitch. Off speed and a beauty. Big jug. 0-2. Jim again checking. Marino waiting on the strike two pitch. Taken low. Ball 1-2. Palmer, with all of his other credentials, has won 3 Gold Gloves. He's been on the American League All-Star team 6 times. Marino tries to time an off-speed pitch. Then he hits the fly ball to Gary Renicky, 1 away. One down, and Tim Foley, the batter. You remember DeCinces played him up inside the bag at third, and he bounced one off Doug's glove for a double. So Foley is 1 for 1. Foley, by getting that base hit, now is 8 for 22. He looks at a fastball for a strike. So the first time around they came up swinging. Now they're looking.
Now they're taking a little bit. I'm a little surprised. He's starting to make some good pitches, too.
Strike one, off speed, grounded to DeCinces as he moves to his right, zips it over to Murray. 2 down. With 2 down, Dave Parker coming up. Parker with the key at bat so far, with second and third. And, of course, he does hit a lot of balls the other way for men his size. Just like a big pitcher, you expect everything to come up there hard. So, with his size, you think everything he's going to hit is going to right field, but it's not so.
Not so. He hits the ball all over. He's one of the big, strong men that use every part of the ballpark.
Palmer ready and delivers. Fastball, and it's in there. A high strike up around the letters. 0-1. So Parker hit one inside third, and DeCinces made the sparkler. Palmer ready, and the strike one pitch on the way. Fastball swung on and missed, and Palmer evidently had that fastball moving away, and as Parker was swinging, DeCinces was breaking towards the foul line. 0-2. Palmer's strike two pitch on the way. Yucked outside, took a lot off it, and just missed 1-2. Sparky, do all of the infielders know each pitch, or is it just up the middle?
Just the shortstop knows it, really. He's the only guy that can really see it. The second baseman can, now with a left-hander up.
1-2 pitch, fastball, fouled away, so still 1-2. You don't bother then to have the shortstop relay the pitch, let's say, to the second baseman.
Oh, a lot of guys do. Yeah, a lot of guys even like to give it to their outfielders. That's why we'll always watch and check that shortstop. If he's given any signs, you will find out.
1-2 to count to Dave Parker. Palmer ready, here he comes. Fastball, strike three ball, inside corner, $1 million pitch. So the Bucks are gone, and at the end of 2.5 innings, no score.
Great stuff in the Lincoln.
Can I join you, Ellen, or are you planning the nation's defenses?
Oh, hi. Grab a seat. No, I was just looking over this directive. Have you read it lately?
You mean that equal opportunity thing?
Uh-huh.
I glanced at it. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with me.
Well, it says all DOD personnel staff.
Let's face it, Ellen, I'm hardly in a power position where I hire and promote and stuff like that.
Huh?
I mean, I couldn't discriminate if I wanted to. I do think whoever made this sandwich is discriminating against me, though.
Well, listen, not to sound like goody two-shoes, but I think this directive is telling us to go beyond action.
Now, wait. You lost me.
They're saying get with the spirit of equal opportunity.
Yeah?
You and I know more than one person around here who follows regulations by the letter, but still discriminates in little ways.
Yeah, putting those people on notice is a good idea. I'm going to write in and suggest a form of punishment, too.
Oh? What?
Make them eat one of these sandwiches.
Bottom of the third inning. Listen to the crowd. And the feeling very high here, especially first. They escaped in the first inning, did Baltimore. And now Jim Palmer's starting to zip the ball. The last couple of fastballs to Dave Parker really had a little smoke on them.
He stepped it up just like he did the other day over here. It took until about the third inning. It's a little warmer tonight. I'm a little afraid now then he's starting to put it in high gear.
Yeah, once he shifts the trouble. John Candelario, no score. And John will be facing Rick Dempsey, Jim Palmer, and Kiko Garcia. No score in the third. Game 6 of the 1979 World Series. Rick Dempsey, who will lead it off, hitting .333. Dempsey, hitting number 8, does not have a run batted in. Rick, right-hand batter, coming up. And this crowd in very high spirits. First, of course, a chance for Baltimore to win the championship. And this weather makes you feel good. Dempsey at the plate. And Candelari's breaking ball skids inside and a little high. Ball 1, 1-0. Candelaria ready. The 1-0 pitch on the way. Fastball on the outside corner at the knees. So breaking ball up and in, and the fastball down and away for a strike. Madlock about even with the bag at third. The outfield straight away. 1-1 pitch to Dempsey. Fastball and a tip into right center field by a diving Garner. Marino up with it. Dempsey at turn and holding with a base hit. Jim Palmer has not really batted since 1972 because of the designated hitter rule in the American League. So we would have to expect a bunt here.
I know he's going to bunt. I'll tell you, I'm going to make one guess. This is 1,000%.
All right. Bill Madlock ready to come from third. Stargell off first. And Palmer around to bunt. Candelaria ready. Jim looks at a pitch for a strike, and the count 0-1. Cal Ripken hanging out a sign. Palmer backed out and looked at it. Stargell holding Dempsey at first. On deck, Chico Garcia. Candelaria delivers in the dirt. Nice save by Ed Ott. 1 ball, 1 strike. They have a pretty good memory way back in the 1971 series. Palmer walked twice in game 2 with the bases loaded, getting an RBI each time. So that's about the last time he swung a bat. 1-1. Madlock way in on the grass now. Bruce Keeson begins to throw again in the Pirate bullpen. Palmer bunting, fouls it away, and the count 1-2. How do you teach somebody to bunt? Let me put it this way. When I was in school and they were teaching us, they would say, take your hand, hold the meat end of the bat, and try and catch the ball with that hand. And, of course, the ball and the bat would collide.
Yeah, you try to deaden it with your right hand if you're right-handed. And by the way, Benny, he's still bunting.
Okay. With 2 strikes on Palmer, we're expecting bunt. Candelaria, left foot on the rubber. Dempsey off the bag at first. John ready. Palmer's bunting, fouled it back, so he is struck out. So Palmer unable to get his man over. And with 1 out, Chico Garcia coming up.
Since I'm so happy I was right.
You were right. Right on the money. The first strikeout for Candelaria. And now Chico Garcia. He had a looping single to center in the first inning. Boy, what a series. He's hitting .500. He's, well, not quite. 7 for 15, including 2 doubles and a triple, and a half a dozen runs batted in. So Garcia, right-hand batter. Dempsey off the bag at first. Candelaria ready, delivers. Breaking ball hit foul outside of third. No hit and run play here with Dempsey and Garcia.
He doesn't like to hit and run that much. He will occasionally. I think if the count gets 1-1, that's when I normally find Earl. 1-1, 2 balls and 1 strike, he'll hit and run if he's going.
Why is it he doesn't like to hit and run? You mean that's just his philosophy?
They don't run a lot, and they don't do a lot of hit and run.
0-1 the count to Garcia. Chico waiting. Candelaria at the belt and delivers. Fastball on the outside corner, strike 2, 0-2. And again, Candelaria has dropped down. He is not overhand. He's not 3/4. He's almost sidearming, keeping the fastball down and away from the right-hand batters. An occasional breaking ball, and only an occasional. Strike 2, fastball up and outside. Ball 1.
Going the way he is, then he has to be away, because if he gets inside, he'll get hurt throwing sidearm, because the ball won't sink for him.
And Garcia's fastball hitter, is he?
He's a good inside high fastball hitter.
1-2 to Kiko. Now the 1-2 pitch. Candelari's fastball is lifted to right center. It's playable, and Dave Parker is there. Dempsey halfway as the big right fielder makes the catch. So we have 2 down and a chance to give you tonight's attendance. 53,739. Exactly the same as in Game 2. 53,739. 2 down, and Benny Ayala, who flied to center in the first inning, coming up. The inability of Jim Farmer to get the bunt down. Pretty important play here. Del Dempsey is still at first with 2 outs. No score in the third. Candelaria delivers fastball on that outside corner, and he turned that thing over for sure.
Yes, he did, Benny, and I'm watching the commissioner down there, and he's leaning right over the rail, and he looks like he's really involved in the game.
Oh,
Game 7.
Yeah, now. The strike 1 pitch to Ayala. Fastball line drive at Garner. So Ayala went out after one of those fastballs and hit it on a button. He hit a trolley wire, but right at Garner. No runs ahead, a man left. And at the end of 3, no score.
You are witnessing a general court-martial, convened to try crimes of a very serious nature. It is a battle of words and procedure. The objective, justice.
Corporal Haynes, you are charged with armed robbery. Will you tell the court your whereabouts on the night of January 25th, 1978?
I visited my girlfriend and then hitched a ride back to the base. The man who picked me up...
Corporal Haynes was arrested in the company of a civilian and charged with robbing a liquor store.
Your Honor, I would offer into evidence this sworn affidavit which we've obtained. It exonerates Corporal...
The civilian suspect has provided a sworn affidavit establishing that Corporal Haynes hitched a ride in his vehicle, but had no knowledge of the crime.
The evidence seems clear that this case should be dismissed.
Like Corporal Haynes, your individual rights are protected under the UCMJ. Get to know them. It's not as open and shut as you may think.
We're moving along, and moving along is the name of it. Here in Game 6, the World Series is moving along. The question is whether it's going to be determined tonight or move on to tomorrow evening. In the 4th inning, no score. Wilbur Stargell, John Milner, and Bill Madlock. Baltimore with Jim Palmer on the hill. The Pirates with John Candelaria. Baltimore's left 2 men on base. The Pirates have left 3 men on base. And, of course, the key so far in the game, that first inning. The magnificent play by Doug DeCinces. Otherwise, it's at least 2-0 Pittsburgh, and for all we know, they're still hitting.
I think they're still hitting, Vince, and I think for sure that they got that third run in because you had Parker on second, at least second. That ball could have went for 3 down that line, and you had Stargell up.
And you have him up now in the 4th inning. Wilbur Stargell came into the game hitting .381. Wilbur with 8 hits, including 2 home runs and 4 runs batted in. As a student of the game, you saw Palmer battle all these people in Game 2. Would he change anything at all the second time around?
Looks like he's just on Willie, pitching him about the same. He goes away with him, and then he gets right back in on him to get him out. He's trying to get Willie out in on his hand.
He went out and got him on the outside corner for a strike. 0-1 to Stargell. Palmer ready, back he comes, and off speed away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Just wonder in this kind of a series whether a pitcher would tamper with his style, figuring that the hitters are now accustomed to him. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Wilbur Stargell. Fastball swung on and missed. 1-2. He had a good rip. Palmer had a good fastball.
Started him off with a fastball away for a strike, came to him a change that he just missed, and then he got back on the inside part of the plate.
1-2 to Stargell. He struck out 5 times. He fouls it away. So he has struck out. Of course, the man who leads in strikeouts, and that's an unenviable department, that's Omar Moreno. He struck out 7 times. That would be more than anybody else in the series. The 1-2 pitch to Stargell. High and outside. Ball 2. 2-2. And Palmer wants another ball to work with. And Paul Runge obliges. Stargell pinwheeling the bat around as he always does. The 2-2 pitch. Off speed, and he didn't get much of it. It's just a fly ball to center field because he was out in front, and Renicky makes the catch. If that's a fastball, it's another story. But Farmer took just enough of it, and Stargell was fooled, and it's a lazy fly ball.
Yeah, Jimmy's really looks like he's got great command tonight. Normally, he'll be a little wild with the up, but he hasn't been wild at all. Only time he goes up when he wants to.
For the second time tonight now, Farmer has retired 5 in a row. And here is John Milner, hit back to the box in the first inning. Off speed, and it's cued down the left field line, foul just by a great effort by Doug DeCince. Diving, but he couldn't quite cat up to it.
When this series is over, poor Doug's going to have to see about 6 chiropractors.
That's right. He came in here talking about a sore back. He's been all over the place. Of course, this is the time. He got plenty of time to rest. Milner cueing that off-speed pitch off the end of the bat foul. 0-1.
I wish all young pitchers would watch Palmer, though. He gets the ball and lets go, and that's the way it's supposed to be. All that stalling around and waiting don't help nothing.
Here's the strike one pitch on the way. Off-speed breaking ball in there nicely. Big, slow overhand curve, 0-2. No score, top of the fourth. Strike two pitch to Milner. Low, ball one. You know, years ago, the sign of a rookie pitcher, he pitched in a hurry. And they were always saying, you got to slow him down.
Now, I'm like you, I like that guy to get it and let's go.
And Farmer does just that. 1-2, off speed, fouled away. So Milner has an idea of how Palmer's pitching him.
Yeah, and Palmer also has gotten an idea on what Milner likes. They finally caught up a little bit. You got to throw John slow, and slower.
Milner, coming into this game, was 3 for 6. But that was pitching him one way. Now tonight, looking at slow stuff. Here's the 1-2 pitch on the way. Fastball just to show it to him, high and outside, ball 2.
Just setting up for this one now.
2-2 to Milner. Will Farmer throw a straight change or the slow curveball? Milner backs out. So would he try and outthink him and come back with the fastball? Farmer's 2-2 pitch is low, ball 3. Turned it over a little bit and threw it in the dirt. A new ball sent out to Jim Palmer. I know there are pitchers whose hands become as sensitive, I guess, as safe crackers. They could reach into a bag and feel a ball with a raised seam. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and that's high, ball 4, and it was a fastball. Do you, in holding a ball, feel any different between National League and American League?
There's no difference anymore, Vince. They've changed now where they both use the same ball. Remember, you used to use the reach and one that's falling. Now they're both using a Rawlings ball, and it's exactly the same ball, just the president's stamp different.
Yes, there was an article in the paper the other day saying that they took a National League ball, an American League ball, and a World Series ball, and they were different. I couldn't believe it.
They're not different. They're the same ball.
Here's Bill Madlock. Milner at first, held on by Eddie Murray. No score in the fourth. Madlock with those quick hands. He has a miniature Stargell circle with the bat. Instead of that big pinwheel that Stargell has, Madlock looks more like a fighter.
Yeah, he keeps his short and compact, but he keeps it whirling.
Madlock lost the hit to Cincé going to his left to take it away from him. They pitch out. Milner's not going anywhere. Ball 1, 1-0. The Pirates, who came in here with such impressive numbers, the same ball club that had stolen 188 bases, and they are 0 for 4 in the World Series. They've been completely shut down. The 1-0 pitch, fastball high, and now Palmer showing a little sign that he's fighting control, and he asks for another ball, 2-0.
When he gets wild, he'll get wild up like that, and that's he walks Miller the ball up, and now he's got behind 2-0 to Madlock.
Madlock has some power, so the chances are that Chuck Tanner would have him swinging 2-0 if he likes the location. Palmer ready, the 2-0 pitch, he's taken all the way, and it was down for ball 3. And now Palmer keeps exchanging balls with Runge, so there's something bothering him right now.
Yeah, there's something bothering him right now.
And DeCince's going over to try and smooth his feathers a little bit.
Runge just pulled out all the balls and was looking at him, too. He said, I can't find anything wrong with him.
A couple of them have wings. They keep taking off. 3-0, the count of Madlock. Ed Ott on deck. 1 out, top of the fourth, no score. Palmer ready. 3-0 pitch is high, ball 4. And with 1 out, back-to-back walks to Milner and Madlock. Ed Ott coming up.
Sauer was going to come in and talk to him, and Palmer said, no, stay where you are.
Yeah, there are When you were with Cincinnati, did you have some pitchers that just didn't want to see anybody?
You always do. You have guys that for some reason they just don't want somebody to come in there. And they get a little upset. Palmer just told him point blank, stay there.
Bob Gibson didn't like people coming to the mound. In fact, he told me sometimes he wouldn't allow it. Nobody. Here's Ed Ott. Yeah, well, maybe the manager, if he said may I. Palmer out of his stretch, ready, delivers. And Ed Ott, it's a slicing fly ball down the left field line, curling in the corner, and it's going to drop foul untouched. And immediately we have a question for you, Spark. Jim Palmer has just walked 2 batters. And again, those fans who get that involved in a ball game will always say, why is it that the hitter walks up and hits the first pitch?
Well, there's a case where Ott's a fastball hitter, Benny. He really loves the fastball, and Charlie doesn't want to get him in a position where he's going to have to hit break and stuff. So he figures that Palmer's walked 2 men in a row, so I'm going to let him hit at that fastball. And Palmer's been pitching up, and Ott does like the ball up and away and down and in. He likes the ball up and away and down and in. That ball was there. He just didn't hit it good.
0-1, the count to Ed Ott. Ott grounded to short in the second inning. He's up there now with 2 on and 1 out. Top of the 4th inning, no score. Palmer out of his stretch. Jim another check, and the right-handed delivers off speed, and this time it's up, and the count 1-1. So Palmer, after getting Stargell, walked Milner, walked Madlock, and he's 1-1 to Ed Ott. Now the 1-1 pitch coming up, Ed. Left-hand hitting catcher. Fastball in on the hand. Ball 2. That must be a desperate feeling when you're out there struggling with your control.
He's struggling right now, and he had a lot on that pitch. That's the best ball I think he's thrown tonight right there.
2-1. Palmer checking, and the right-handed deals. Fastball hit down to second. Dow retreats up with it over to short for 1. To first on a bounce too late. And the reason the throw was on a bounce was Phil Madlock, who threw a rolling block at Chico Garcia, and Garcia could not get much on the throw. And because he couldn't throw it hard, the inning is still alive. And it was all set up on the rolling block by Bill Madlock. So a fourth play, 4-6. Who's the toughest man you ever saw in the base paths?
John Roseborough. I'll tell you, John Roseborough would hit you and hit you clean, but when he hit you, you're first all over.
Another fellow I always thought was as tough as anybody I'd seen is coaching right here for Baltimore, Frank Robinson.
They say, I never got to play against Frank.
He was scary. All right, here's Phil Garner. First and third, 2 out, 4th inning, no score. Garner singled to center in the second inning. So Milner at third, Ott at first with 2 outs. Palmer trying to get out of a jam. It would be his second jam of the night. Jim Reddy delivers. Fastball, pop foul down the right field line, peeling off with Dower and Singleton. Neither man will have a play. It's back in the stands. 0-1. Garner, a tough man to pitch to. He uses the whole field.
Palmer was just joking with Garner. He walked over to the line while Garner was coming back, and they were both laughing. Palmer said, man, I thought I finally got you out for a change.
There's some great feeling in the series. Each team with tremendous respect for the other, and it was interesting, the Pirates being introduced first here in Baltimore, and how many of the Bucks were applauding each and every Baltimore player as he was introduced.
Well, the 3 I really noticed on everyone was Tanner, their manager, Stargell, and Parker. And really something to watch a great player like Parker and Stargell to do that for every opposing player.
0-1, the count to Phil Garner. Milner down the line from third. Ott at first, held on by Eddie Murray. No score, 4th inning. Jim Palmer, John Candelaria. Palmer kicking at the dirt around the rubber. Now looks in to get his sign. Jim Reddy. Strike 1 pitch. Fastball, high and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Garner with 5 RBIs. And he has 10 hits in 19 at-bats. He's having a remarkable series. .290 hitter during the regular year, and he's been out of sight in 5 World Series games. 1-1 pitch to Phil. High, ball 2, and Palmer dropped his arm just a little bit that time.
Dropped in just a little bit. Looked like maybe he was trying to aim the ball a little.
2-1, and of course that's disastrous if you start aiming.
I wouldn't aim to this guy as hot as he is.
2-1 to Garner. On deck is John Candelaria. Palmer checking. Dempsey trying to help and set a target. The 2-1 pitch hit him, I believe, on top of the helmet. That's right. So it goes all the way to the backstop, and the bases are loaded. So Phil Garner is hit by the pitch. Ott goes to second. Milner has to hold at third. And John Candelaria coming up. Now, let's try and read Chuck Tanner's mind. Do you make Candelaria take 2 strikes?
No, again, I believe he'll let Candy swing. Candy's not a bad hitter. And he knows if he gets him in curveball situations, he don't have a chance, so he's going to let him try to beat on a fastball.
The left-hand hitting Candelaria up there with the bases loaded and is stirring around in the Baltimore nest back of left field. Palmer delivers, fastball fouled away, and the count 0-1.
That's very surprising to me right there, Vinny, because the first thing they always will tell you in a jam with pitchers, start him off with a breaking ball, make him see that, throw it for a strike, and then just try to keep giving it to him. He started him off with a fastball, and he had a great rip at it.
Which perhaps gives an indication of Palmer's thinking about his control.
Right there, he figures that he doesn't want to get behind him, get ahead of him, but boy, that's a quick way to have 2 quickies on you.
Here's the strike 1 pitch to Candelaria. Palmer's fastball is swung on and missed, so he's staying with it, and the count 0-2.
Palmer's saying, Mr. Anderson, I got a better fastball than this guy can hit.
0-2. Milner at third. Ott at second. Garner at first. 2 out in the 4th. No score. The Bucks denied in the first inning, and Palmer trying to take it away from him again in the 4th. Strike 2 pitch. Palmer deals. Got him swinging. So 3 live fastballs to strike out Candelaria. The Pirates have now left 6 men in 4 innings, and at the end of 3.5 innings, no score.
You are about to be a witness to a military combat situation, not one of battle, but of words and procedure. The setting, the courtroom. The objective, justice.
The court will come to order. The court is convened by special court-martial convening order number 54.
Defense calls Mrs. Sarah Davenport, the defendant's aunt.
Private First Class Robert Davenport was assigned to guard the post's west gate from midnight to 4 a.m. He failed to report.
Mrs. Davenport, have you ever known the defendant to shirk responsibility?
Objection.
Your Honor, Mrs. Davenport is a character witness. This case is based on PFC Davenport's failure to live up to a responsibility.
I agree. Trial counsel is reminded that the UCMJ guarantees the defendant's right to present character evidence. Objection overruled. Proceed.
Well, in all the years that I've known him, Robert's never
Subsequent testimony revealed the surprising fact that the defendant suffered from a congenital affliction, which caused periodic blackouts. PFC Robert Davenport was found innocent. Know your legal rights. It's not as open and shut as you may think.
Do you speed? Make jackrabbit starts in your automobile? Well, speeding and jackrabbit starts waste gas. The most fuel-efficient speeds are between 35 and 45 miles an hour. And 45 miles an hour is the maximum speed limit in the Republic of Panama, nationwide. Sticking to the legal speed limits will save you money and us energy. It's up to you. Only you can save energy, and only you can make energy conservation a part of your daily life.
You know, Vince, I don't know how you can be wild like he was and then make one right on the inside corner about belt high and then one up about letters on the inside, then one on the outside.
Well, it's obvious he finally found a ball he can control.
Yeah, he finally found that right ball.
He must have used a small bag, folks, but he finally fought his way off the clinches. So, the Pirates left second and third in the first inning, bases loaded in the 4th, and they left a man in the second inning. For Baltimore, they have left 2 men on through 3 innings. And now, Singleton, Murray, and DeCinces, the big boys coming up in the 4th. Stanley Stewart got up briefly behind Palmer in the 4th inning. Bruce Keaton threw briefly behind Candelaria in the first inning. And now here we go in the 4th. No runs, 3 hits for each side. Singleton single to left in the first inning. And Candelaria's fastball is whacked to right center field. Marino on the dead run, but it's in there. He's deep in right center, and Singleton holding on a good play by Omar Marino.
That was a great play, not a good play. That was just an outstanding play by Marino. How he could get over there and cut that ball off, but that just shows you on AstroTurf, that not only been a double, it probably been a triple.
Well, here, Omar Marino makes a marvelous play to hold Kenny Singleton to a single. And wait a minute, here comes Chuck Tanner. And, of course, with Eddie Murray coming up, and you have to remember the last out in the third inning. Remember, Ayala hit a bullet, but right at Garner.
Charlie seen something over from the dugout on that first pitch that he didn't like. Now you just wanted to check with him.
So he has talked to Candelaria, Ed Ott, and the big pitcher huddle for the moment. Eddie Murray hit into a double play in the first inning. So Murray came into this game hitting .222, and he's 4 for 19. Singleton at first. And the chant will well up again. Eddie, Eddie. Murray climbs in, and Candelaria out of his stretch. Looks at Singleton, comes to the hitter, and there's a one-hopper knocked down by Madlock. He has a tough throw, but he makes it a big play.
Oh, I'm telling you, we said before the game, we thought with this weather we'd start really seeing some great defensive play, and that was a great play there.
Madlock with a hot hand because that thing was ripped, and he was able to backhand and knock it down, and then pick it up and throw a strike to Scargill. But Singleton advances to second. It's the second time Baltimore has had a man in scoring position, and with one out, Doug DeCinces coming up. DeCinces with 3 RBIs has made the key defensive play in the first inning. He tried to find his way aboard in the second, if you remember, and Candelaria came down off the mound and threw him out. And the Pirate bullpen will get ready again behind Candelaria. There's no hesitation, of course, in this one, especially the Pittsburgh. Candelaria deals, and it's hit foul into the crowd just by the Pirate dugout. Bruce Keeson is up for the second time. 0-1, the count to Doug DeCinces. Harry Renicky on deck. No runs, 4 hits for Baltimore. No runs, 3 hits for the Pirates. Bottom of the fourth inning, 1 out. Candelaria reading Ed Ott. Singleton, a big man, takes his lead at second, and the strike one pitch is away with the fastball. He's not doing any challenging with that fastball coming in on right-handed.
No, Vince, every time he gets it from the middle in, he gets hit real hard. The ball of Singleton was up and over the plate, and he hit it hard. Every time he's got the ball from the middle in, it's been hit.
1-1 the count. DeCinces waiting at the plate, and he takes a breaking ball in there. And every now and then he comes in with that breaking ball, and it just jumps in on the hitter. Good pitch, although DeCinces doesn't think so. 1-2 the count. Of course, that's superfluous. The hitter doesn't think so. Imagine the hitter saying to the pitcher, that was a great pitch.
Yeah, tell the catcher, boy, that's just a good umpire. That was a perfect pitch.
1-2 to Doug DeCinces. No score, fourth inning. Singleton at second base. Candelaria nodding yes. John Reddy in the left-handed deal. Fastball, foul back. Still 1-2. The ratio of fastballs to curves becomes very important because the right-hand hitters now know about the fastball. They're starting to go out after it, lean across the plate. Then it's a question of just when is Candelaria going to outguess him with the breaking ball.
That's it, Benny. They're starting to lean across now for that sinker, and he's got to start popping some people back inside.
The 1-2 pitch to DeCinces. Breaking ball, grounded to Foley. Tim is up with it, goes across the Scargill in time. So he came with the breaking ball and got him. And with the ball hit ahead of him, Singleton had to hold at second. 2 down. Gary Renicky coming up. Renicky flied to center in the second inning. Right-hand hitting outfielder playing center field. He plays them all. Renicky with a lot of stock. He had 25 home runs during the regular season. On deck, Rich Dower, the second baseman. Candelaria on the rubber, looks in to get a sign. Now John out of his stretch. The big left-hander delivers fastball high. Ball 1. 6 feet 7 inches tall. John Candelaria battling Jim Palmer in the 6th game of the World Series. 1 ball and no strikes to Renicky. Candelaria comes back 1-0. Breaking ball hit up along third base, foul, and the count 1-1. Candelaria, I guess, doesn't use that change. He certainly hasn't been taking anything off.
And he hasn't been throwing that big slow curve, but he can't hardly from the position he's throwing from right now. Then he's throwing too much side on it.
1-1 the count. Gary Renicky at the plate. Singleton at second. 2 out. No score, fourth inning. Garner deep at second base. The 1-1 fastball is high. Ball 2, 2-1. Renicky came into this game hitting 167. Dower on deck came in hitting 250. Candelaria nods yes. And the 2-1 pitch on the way. Breaking ball and a good one. It's a half swing by Renicky, but he was fooled on the pitch. And the count 2-2. Each pitcher, they're not wandering. They're getting the ball and they're coming right after the hitter. Candelaria took a deep sigh and now he's up on top again. Looks at Singleton and the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball. Popped in the air to shallow center. Garner out. Marino in and who's going to handle it? Garner. And he wanted help, but Marino was taking his time thinking Phil had it all the way. That almost was a costly play. No runs ahead, a man left, and at the end of 4, no score.
Here's another test of the professional. Ready?
When wearing the military uniform, you may, A, interchange items from your winter and summer uniforms only if the weather is severe. B, never interchange the winter and summer uniforms. C, interchange summer and winter components only when authorized by your regional authority.
The correct answer is C. Now try this question. When on or off duty, you may A, wear parts of your military uniform like field jackets or overcoats with your civilian clothes if the insignias are removed. B, relax the discipline of keeping all buttons buttoned. C, wear either civilian clothes or your complete uniform, not a mixture.
The correct answer is A. If you said wear parts of your military uniform, like field jackets or overcoats, if the insignias are removed, you were correct.
Take pride in wearing your uniform properly. It's the test of a professional.
They've got 4 innings in the books. At game 6, no score. The Pirates in Baltimore. Coming on the heels of Sunday's battle, it was scoreless with Jim Rooker battling Mike Flanagan. Most of the games, they've had a lot of scoring up front and then settling down for one person to play catch-up. But tonight, scoreless going into the 5th inning. Sparky, I was wondering, it must be difficult for you to really have an impression of a hitter. Let's say you just see a man for 9, 10, 12 games, and it's pretty hard for you to say, well, he doesn't do well against us, so he's not a good player, or what have you.
Well, what you do, Vinny, though, is you talk to each club you play. You know, if we're having trouble with the guy, say a guy on Kansas City or a guy at Philadelphia when he's in the National League, you'll talk to each club and say, how do you pitch? Because we all share that information for one thing. You've got to try to keep all the hitters from hitting.
They have kept Omar Marino from hitting so far. He started the night hitting .217. He's 1 for 2. So he has 6 hits and 25 at-bats. Less than .250. The left-hand hitting center fielder at the plate and hits a change foul outside of third, 0-1. We should point out again, Marino not hitting, but he made a big defensive play on that ball hit by Singleton. If Singleton is at second with nobody out in the 4th inning, that could have been a different half inning for the Orioles. Marino back up. Foley and Parker to follow. Palmer starts, hesitates, and backs off the double check. Now he's ready. Strike 1, change. Line drive, one-handed by Dower. He came back with 2 consecutive changes.
He got that one right up in his eyes, and he hit it real good, but Dower made a great play. You know, Benny, what's so nice about this is that you have 2 champions of each league, and they're playing the way people expect them to play.
So Palmer with back-to-back change-ups to Marino, and he barely got away with it, thanks to the catch by Dower. 1 out in here is Foley. Jim delivers, fastball fouled away. So now they're going after that first pitch again. It's alternate times at bat, evidently.
Yeah, now they're back jumping on it. Maybe that's what Jim Russo says. Instead of move the guys a couple steps, maybe that's what they've done.
Strike 1 change is popped in the air around the plate, foul. Dempsey saying that he has it, and he does.
Like that, guys on the bench say when it went up, they said, young man, if that comes down, you're out.
You know what? You know the best foul ball I ever saw, honestly, was in an exhibition game. 2 out, bases loaded, and Del Crandall is catching for the Milwaukee Braves. And And as he turns to go after the foul ball, he bumps into the plate umpire, and he dropped his mitt. And he went after the foul ball barehanded. Tremendous play. No. But that was one of the most exciting foul balls I've ever seen. Watching a big league catcher try to catch it without the mitt. Here's Dave Parker. He's 0 for 2. Late fouls it away down the left field line. Good fastball down and in. 0-1. So Marino lines out. Foley fouls out. 0-1 to count to Parker. Fifth inning, no score. By the duel, John Candelaria and Jim Palmer. Strike one pitch, high and outside. 1-1.
Didn't Yogi Berra drop a famous pop fly with
no-hitter?
Pitching a no-hitter and then caught the next one.
Ted Williams was the hitter. 1-1 to count. Palmer delivers. Fastball hit down the left field line. Slicing foul. And back into the stands, 1-2.
I can just hear Reynolds giving Williams 2 shots.
And then Yogi hanging tough. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count to Dave Parker. 2 out, top of the 5th inning, no score.
Since every man I've ever talked to in baseball says Ted Williams is the greatest hitter that ever lived.
I certainly wouldn't argue. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Palmer delivers. Fastball fouled away. Upstairs off to the left. Still 1-2. And where there are some fellows who are ducking and bobbing and weaving trying to get a record, on the last day of the season he went after 400 and got it. To pitch to Parker inside. Remember when they said, hey, you've had a good first game, sit down now. You're hitting 400. And he said, nope.
No, he said, if I'm a 400 hitter, I'll prove it. And if I'm not, well, I don't deserve it.
And he went out and got it. 2-2 to Dave Parker. 2 out in the 5th, no score. Palmer into the windup. Jim delivers. Swung on and fouled away. Boy, that was a good pitch.
Yeah, he's working Parker awful tough. Working right in on him, working away, then changing on him. He's got Dave right now a little confused.
It was the way Mike Flanagan, of course, left-handed, but remember how Flanagan pitched to Parker? Struck him out, coming sidearm, overhand, 3/4. He threw everything with the kitchen sink up there. Of course, when you're Parker, I guess that's what you get.
That's what you get when you play like he does.
The 2-2 pitch on the way. Fastball fouled away. Upstairs off to the left. It was interesting to note, and I'm sure anybody listening has read, how Wilbur Stargell gives out gold stars to all of his teammates for great exploits, and they wear them on their baseball caps. Parker has a baseball cap, not a star on it. Nothing. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And that's just low with the off-speed pitch that he turned over ball 3. I guess he figures, hey, the star's wearing it.
Yeah, and they figure this way, too, that he's the best player in America, probably. He don't deserve any stars.
He wouldn't have any hat left if he covered him with stars. 3-2, and here comes Palmer. And it's high and inside under the elbows, ball 4. That would be the 3rd walk given up by Palmer. And remember, he's also hit a batter. And Wilbur Stargell coming out. Stargell fouled out and flied out. Remember, the fly ball was a changeup, and he was out in front, hit it off the end of the bat. And Palmer is doing a little thinking right now. With 2 outs, he battled Parker and lost him, and now no rest for the weary. He has to come right back after another big left-hand hitter. Parker held on by Eddie Murray. He stole 20 bases during the year. And Palmer on and off the rubber. Not only did Parker steal 20, but they only caught him 4 times. The 5th is Stargell on the outside part of the plate football. No score. Top of the 5th, 2 outs. Palmer on and off the rubber to see what Parker's doing. Now the strike 1 pitch is instead a throw to first. With that runner at first, of course, you keep Murray on the bag. That opens up the right side of the infield for Stargell. John Milner on deck. Towers deep, over to his left. The strike 1 pitch, high, one-handed by Dempsey, 1 ball, 1 strike. Palmer has allowed only 3 hits, and remember, 2 of them to the first 2 batters on the first 2 pitches. No score in the 5th. Stargell waiting. 1-1. Palmer again on and off the rubber, now back on again. Boy, he's thinking about Parker. And the 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. Fastball. 1-2. Boy, you really are on the horns of a dilemma in the big leagues. You've got to keep one eye on that base runner, and meanwhile, you make a mistake to the man at the plate, and he cuts you in half.
Yeah, if you make a mistake to Willie, you're in deep trouble because you're down 2-0, and you still got to keep an eye on Parker because he can run well.
1-2 to Wilbur Stargell. Palmer on the rough. Jim out of his stretch. Turns, throws to Parker back to the bag. Pretty fancy footwork for a big man, too. 1-2. Palmer out of his stretch, delivers. Outside and high, ball two. Did you know Dave Parker wears an earring? Well, it's not really an earring. It's like a little diamond stud in the earlobe of his left ear.
That makes you fool. You know, you're a real fool.
I guarantee you one thing, nobody's going to question it.
No, they won't question David.
You want to wear diamonds? Go ahead, Dave. 2-2. Parker again inching off the bag. 2-2 to Wilbur Stargell. Here comes Palmer, and it's swung on.
It's going pretty good to him.
That's the fourth strikeout for Jim Palmer. And the Bucks have left 7 men in 5 innings. At the end of 4.5, no score.
Here's another test of the professional.
If you were in a gymnasium watching a basketball game while in uniform and the national anthem was played, you should A, salute the flag. B, simply come to attention and do not salute. C, face the flag and place your right hand over your heart.
If you answered B, then you were right. The correct answer is come to attention without saluting. Now, another question in the test of a professional.
If you are indoors during a recital of the Pledge of Allegiance, but the national anthem is not played, you should A, salute and recite the pledge. B, stand and recite the pledge. C, place your hand over your heart and recite the pledge.
The correct answer is C. If you answered place your hand over your heart and recite the pledge, then you were right. Know the customs pertaining to our national anthem. It's the test of a professional.
We're going to the bottom of the 5th inning. No score. And the heritage of Baltimore in their previous World Series, they won in 66 over the Dodgers, lost to the Mets in 69, won against the Reds in 70, lost to the Pirates in 71. For the Pirates, they have some World Series history to bank on. The Bucks won in 1909, 1925, 1960, and 1971. So it's Baltimore and Pittsburgh in the bottom of the 5th inning, Game 6 of the 1979 World Series. And scoreless in the bottom of the 5th. It's the first time in any game we've gone this far with nothing but smoke rings on the scoreboard. It'll be Rich Dower, Rick Dempsey, and Jim Palmer. Dower flied to center. In the 2nd inning, he's 0 for 1. Dower flagged the line drive hit by Omar Marino in the 5th inning. Right-hand hitter coming up. John Candelaria heaves aside, the big left-hander up on top. Madlock wide, but even with the bag at third. Candelaria's fastball is a one-hopper into center field for a base hit. So that sinking fastball not only didn't sink, but it was up, and Dower just hammered a nail in it, and that'll bring up Dempsey. Dempsey singles. With Palmer due up next, the chances are what?
They do play hit and run with Dower and Dempsey. Now, that's the one place that they will do it. Earl likes to do it a lot with Dempsey. He handles the bat well, so I wouldn't be surprised somewhere along the line to see him do it.
Dower, during the regular year, did not have a stolen base. He was 0 for 1. So Dempsey at the plate. No score in the 5th. Dower held on by Stargell. Candelaria just lobbed the ball over there. 5 hits for Baltimore. Pittsburgh with 3 hits. No score. Candelaria ready, delivers. In the dirt. Smothered by Ott right at the feet of the hitter, and holding at first is Dower. And immediately the Pirate bullpen will get busy again. Of course, For Pittsburgh, anytime anybody gets on base, they have to ring down there. They can't afford to wait. Keeson has been up twice, and we'll check and see who's down there now.
You know, I'm a little surprised right now here that Dempsey didn't bother to look down. They might have set this from the bench.
0-1 the count. Candelaria checking Dower. Sinker is too low. Ball 2, 2-0. And Bruce Keeson is up again in the Pirates bullpen. So evidently, he's not having any trouble getting loose. They reported that his arm was sore and tender in Pittsburgh. 2 balls and no strikes to Rick Dempsey. Candelaria at the belt. John delivers. Left ball, and that's 2. A ground ball to Foley. Over to Garner for 1. The Scargill double play. And it looked like the Pirates were taking infield. That was a double play as soon as it left the bat.
Now, that was tailor-made. That nice 2 hops. Boom, boom.
So a 6-4-3 double play. 2 down. Baltimore has had 4 double plays, and that's the 10th double play turned in by the Pirates in 5.5 games. John Candelaria working on Jim Farmer, and the left-hander ready, delivers, fast one swung on and missed. Farmer has been around long enough now that his name is not only in the Baltimore record book, but he is now getting into World Series books. Here's a strike 1 pitch, and Jimmy takes the strike, 0-2. Farmer tied with Derringer and Red Ruffing on the all-time World Series walk list, 12th on the all-time strikeout list, and for innings pitched, he was tied with Eddie Plank, and he is now just past Rube Marquardt for World Series pitch missing 1 and 2. So the name Jim Farmer, deeply written in World Series and baseball record books. Jim, right-hand batter, bends at the waist. Candelaria with 2 down, into the windup, and the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball got him swinging, and he threw a good one, and down goes Farmer. So at the end of 5, Pittsburgh nothing, Baltimore nothing.
Aware. 60 seconds on marriage.
We've just been sweethearts all through 50 years.
Doug and Patsy were married more than 50 years ago in 1926.
When I think of our marriage together, I really think of words like completeness, being complete in one another, faithfulness to each other,
Loyalty,
trustworthiness,
kindness.
sharing our thoughts, planning together.
Because we've always done...
Practical suggestions on improving your marriage are available in a free report from Aware, Box 55, Los Angeles. Ask for Marriage. Aware, Box 55, Los Angeles, California, 90053.
Wonderful love for each other and our togetherness.
And our relationship to God.
Yeah.
Together. We call our home our love nest.
Aware, a human concern project. The Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Take a few minutes out to find out just how nice a neighborhood library really can be. Stop by the Amador Community Library. Full of books, records, and magazines, and you'll find the quiet afternoon hours just as perfect for grown-ups relaxing as they are for kids doing homework. Call 823359. That's 823359 for information on hours and activities. Then take a break, drop by, and enjoy your Amador Community Library.
We're moving into the 6th inning at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. No score in the ball game. By the way, we were talking about the double play, that it was the 10th turned in by the Pirates. Phil Garner has participated in 9 of the 10 double plays. That's a new World Series record. Previously, Bucky Harris had 8 when Bucky played with the Washington Senators. What was the double play that Garner missed? That was a ground ball to Madlock tonight when Bill stepped on third and threw to first. Garner has been in 9 double plays, 9 of the 10 in the series. John Milner, Bill Madlock, and Ed Ott coming up in the 6th inning, no score. Milner hit back to the box and walked, 0 for 1. Jim Farmer has allowed 3 hits. He has walked 3 and hit a batter, and he has struck out 4. Palmer into the windup, and the pitch to Milner. Off speed, hit off the end of the stick, cued to shortstop. Garcia taking his time to throw him out. Well, if Milner doesn't need a letter from home now, they just change it up.
No, they don't need to write it on the blackboard by now, because if I was him, I'd have to be just sitting up there taking the fastball, looking for it, because they're not going to give him a fastball to hit.
One away, and the batter is Bill Madlock. Robbed of the hit by DeCinces, walked in the fourth. Still 0 for 1. Madlock, 9 for 19 in the series. Jim Palmer's fastball is high. Ball one was forced 5 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS radio network. High fly ball into right center and deep single and going to the track to make the catch for the out. So Madlock gave it a ride, but to the other field, and Singleton hauled it in. 2 down, and Ed Ott the batter. In case you joined us late, the biggest play of the night came very early. In the first inning, Omar Marino hit the first pitch up the middle for a base hit. Tim Foley hit the next pitch off the Sensei's glove for a double. And the Pirates at second and third and nobody out, and Dave Parker the batter. And he hit a shot inside third, and DeCinces made a great stop and threw him out. The pitch out of strike. Otherwise, 2 runs are over on an extra base hit. Stargell fouled out. Milner hit back to the box, and that was that. Fastball is high to us, 1-1. And Palmer, off a big hook in the first inning, has held his own with Candelaria, and we're in the 6th. Jim's 1-1 pitch on the way. Change curve, cued over the head of Garcia. He tries to backhand it, but he can't do it. And Oddie takes a turn and holds at first. Boy, that would have made Willie Hoppy happy. He hit that thing right out of the pool hole.
Yeah, that thing there was twisted, and poor Garcia was trying to catch up. When he did catch up, it bent too much on it.
Now, Phil Garner coming up. Garner singles and was hit on the batting helmet by a pitch. He's 1 for 1. Chuck Tanner might have a decision to make if Garner gets aboard, because Candelaria is due up next. He has Thiessen in the bullpen, and he might go to the bench. After all, he's on the road in the 6th, battling to stay alive in the series. Garner without at first and 2 outs. No score. Palmer out of his stretch. Jim delivers fastball and a fly ball into left center. It's playable. Gary Renicky is there and puts it away. No runs, 1 hit, a man left. The Pirates have left 8. And at the end of 5 1/2, no score.
Aware. 60 seconds on child abuse. Most parents believe child abuse means beating, torturing, or killing a child. But abuse doesn't have to be physical. It can be verbal. Aware. 60 seconds on child abuse. Most parents believe child abuse means beating, torturing, or killing a child. But abuse doesn't have to be physical. It can be verbal.
Do you ever abuse your children?
No, I don't hit my kids. I couldn't do that. I do insult them, though, and make them feel stupid.
The child abuse can be emotional.
Sure, I love my kids, but there are times when I make them think I don't.
Sometimes the abuse is sexual. In any case, there is not a sharp distinction between those who abuse their children and those who don't. If you've ever thought about abusing your child, it's time to contact professional help. A list of organizations to call is available in a free report from Aware, Box 55, Los Angeles. Ask for child abuse. Aware, Box 55, Los Angeles, California, 90053. Aware, a human concern project. The Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Bottom of the 6th inning, I'm Vin Scully along with Sparky Anderson. Sparky, a couple of questions. John Candelaria. Well, now, wait a minute. He's just come off the mound, and Chuck Tanner comes. Candelaria is due to bat first when Pittsburgh comes up in the 7th inning. So the first question is, here in the bottom of the 6th, no score. Do you think it might be his last inning?
What Charlie's doing right here, Vince, is he's asking, don't kid me, Candy. Now, if there's any problem at all, I want you out of here. I don't want to hurt you in any way, and Candy's told him I'm all right. I do believe that it's his last inning.
I also wonder now if I thought maybe Runge, he gestured over towards Baltimore's dugout. And I'm wondering if they've reversed themselves now as far as going to the mouth or not. Well, anyway, Candelaria is tuning up. Now, what about the bottom line? Bruce Keeson has been up at least 3 times in the bullpen. How many times do you dare have a guy get up?
Well, it depends on how much he's throwing. Early in the ball game, if he throws good once, I'll never let him throw good again. If he throws slightly 2 more times, fine. But if he has to throw good twice, then that's it for me.
And the Pirate bullpen is loosening up right now. Bruce Keeson for the 4th time. So one way or another, this would certainly appear to be Candelaria's last inning. Chico Garcia, Benny Ayala, Kenny Singleton. And a breaking ball is hit to center. Moreno coming up. He had a good jump on it. It makes the catch for the out. So Garcia hits the first ball to Moreno, 1 out. Benny Ayala flied to center and lined out 0 for 2. Another question, when Tanner went out, that constitutes a trip to the mound, doesn't it?
That constitutes a trip, unless the umpire says it's an injury thing. They can't allow it, and that's what he might have been telling the ball to our bench. This doesn't count.
Ayala flied to center and lined out. He's 0 for 2. Fastball over for a strike. In case you're not aware of it, you make 2 trips to the mound and your pitch is gone, and Tanner went out there to visit while he was warming up. 0-1, the count to Ayala. Off speed, he turned it over low. It acted like a screwball. 1-1, the count to Benny Ayala. No score. No runs, 5 hits for Baltimore. No runs, 4 hits for Pittsburgh in the bottom of the 6th. Candelaria into his windup in the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball hit on the 5th to one hopper. Short hop by Foley, who guns him out. 2 down. Batter now will be Kenny Singleton, who is 2 for 2. Single to left and single to center. Candelaria due up, leading off the 7th inning. And Keeson throwing back up and in the bullpen. Singleton hitting right-handed. Candelaria into the windup, and a good breaking ball is swung on and missed, 0-1.
You know, you have to really give Candelaria credit. He's pitched a super ball game for a person that's been having a little trouble.
0-1. Now the strike 1 pitch on the way. Candy delivers another breaking ball swung on and missed. Officially, we get the report. Canner came out to the mound before the inning started because Candelaria felt a twinge in his shoulder. And evidently he was able to convince his manager it was nothing more than a twinge. 0-2 to Singleton. He's given him 2 breaking balls. With a strike 2 pitch on the way. Fastball outside. Ball 1. 1-2. No score in the 6th. In game 6. Candelaria reading Ed Ott. John into the windup. And the 1-2 breaking ball. Hooked into left center field. Base hit. Over to get it is Marino. Milner picks it up. And holding at first base, he's 3 for 3 is Ken Singleton. And that'll bring up Eddie Murray. There's also a tough spot for a manager with 2 outs where you know you're going to hit for your pitcher, whether you want to relieve for him or not and technically waste the pitcher.
Well, I would say right here, he won't relieve with him. He might if Murray gets on for defense. He doesn't really care, Vince, about the inning he's going to bat. He wants to get out of that inning without them scoring.
So the runner is first and 2 down. Here's Eddie Murray. Hit into a double play, grounded to third. Both times he has pulled the ball to Madlock. And Madlock is deep and almost guarding the line. Candelaria delivers fastball outside. Ball 1. No runs, 4 hits for the Pirates. The big story for Pittsburgh. 8 men left on base. No runs, 6 hits for Baltimore. They have left 3. The 1-0 pitch, foul back in the count 1-1.
Since this is the first time I've ever looked up at the scoreboard and seen Baltimore ahead in hits.
That's right, 6 hits to 4, but it's not a payoff window. No score. Candelaria waiting on Eddie Murray. Singleton held on by Scargill. Marino slightly off the mark, so what gap there is in right center. 1-1 pitch to Eddie Murray. Breaking ball, half swing for a strike, 1-2. He threw a lot of breaking balls to Singleton, and he's come back with a couple now to Murray. 1-2 to Eddie. No score. Bottom of the 6th inning. Doug DeCince on deck. Candelario reading it out. Now John Reddy in the 1-2 pitch to Eddie Murray. Breaking ball, a busted bat, a one-hopper deep to Foley. Goes to Garner for the fourth on Singleton. Boy, he finished up with a flourish with a good breaking ball.
He just did a super job tonight, and I really look for him to pinch hit for him now.
No runs, 1 hit, a man left. And at the end of 6, no score.
More than 40 million Americans are behind bars, invisible bars that keep them hungry, lonely, and powerless. Our 40 million poor are told, get a job, support yourself. But more than half the poor do work. They just aren't paid a living wage. 1/3 of those 40 million poor are children. Another 3 million are elderly. And those who simply can't find jobs are too often told, you aren't trying hard enough. What will it take to unlock these doors and tear down the walls of poverty? Our combined efforts and the will to do it. What Americans trapped in poverty want is not a handout, but a way out. Let's begin again together. This message brought to you by the Campaign for Human Development, United States Catholic Conference.
Winding up the baseball season with all the excitement of the World Series, but there's exciting sports the year round on CBS Radio. NFL Monday Night Football, college football postseason play, Super Bowl 14. Horse racing with the Washington, D.C. International, the Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes. Pro golf, pro tennis, and don't forget the 1980 Winter and Summer Olympics. All year round, CBS is your #1 radio network for sports. We're going to the 7th inning, and John Candelario will be coming out of the ball game for Lee Lacy. Lacy coming up to pinch hit for Candelario. The Candyman went 6 innings, allowed 6 hits, struck out 2, no walks, no runs. The 2 strikeouts were Jim Palmer. One's trying to bunt. So Lee Lacy coming up to start things off. Lacy 1 for 3. Jim Palmer looks over to Chico Garcia. He's also checking just to see where Benny Ayala is, and now we're ready. And the first pitch to Lacy, fastball in there for a strike, 0-1. Now that we're into the 7th inning, it is Kent Jacoby who is loosening up in the Pirate bullpen. The strike 1 pitch to Lacy, over the top in the dirt, off-speed breaking ball, and the count 1-1. Baltimore moving around in the bullpen, but just a little restless energy. No one throwing yet. 1 ball and 1 strike to count to Lacy, followed by Marino and then Foley. Palmer checking signs. Jim Reddy in the 1-1 pitch. Fastball zipped in there. Strike 2. Palmer has 4 strikeouts, walked 3, hit a batter, has allowed 4 hits and no runs. Been able to retire the side in order only in the 3rd inning. Palmer's 1-2 pitch is a breaking ball outside and high. Down in the bullpen, Don Stanhouse, and that's somewhat of a surprise because, according to reports coming out of Baltimore, Stanhouse felt he was not able to pitch anymore. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Fastball got him swinging.
That's the only thing I can think of. Maybe Earl called down there and said, have Stanhouse loosen up and see how he feels and give me a report back here.
Well, Stanhouse is doing just that. And with 1 out, here's Omar Marino. Single to center, fly to center, and lined out to Dower. Marino 1 for 3. Tim Foley on deck. Now, this is what a World Series game is all about. No score in the 7th inning. And it is no accident, I guess. The best game played, the best weather.
The weather, Vince, and I'm sure that if the weather would have been like this every game, we'd have had even more exciting than we had.
Here's the first pitch to Omar Marino. Fastball high and outside. Ball 1. Marino has a look at Joe Lynette to see if there might be a play in the works, 1-0. Would they have cuffs on him to make him take a pitch?
I don't think so.
Ground ball into right field. Base hit. So Marino hits the second pitch and grounds it into right field. And the speed merchant is aboard now with Tim Foley coming up. Remember in the first inning, Marino singled, and we were expecting him to steal, and they played hit and run right away. So we'll see now if they play hit and run or if they allow Marino a chance to steal a base.
We're going to see him run, and we're going to see him run in the first 2 pitches, I believe.
5 hits off Jim Palmer. No score in the ball game in the 7th inning. Marino with the count 1 ball and no strikes backed out and looked at Joe Lynette, who went through a whole lot of signs. That's why I asked you that question.
He probably decoyed it. I know David Concepcion used to love that. He'd step out and look. He wanted to go through all the signs.
So here is Foley. Foley is 1 for 3. Choking up on the bat, of course. To Sensei near the bag at third. The outfield somewhat shallow and about maybe shifted slightly to right field. Palmer's fastball in there for a strike.
Palmer quick pitched him there. He came up and went right to the plate without even looking. I think he surprised Moreno.
0-1 the count. Palmer gesturing to Rich Dower as if to say, get a little more towards the hole on the right side. And a throw to first. Marino diving back, and the tag caused the ball to go flying out of Eddie Murray's mitt, but it was close.
Looked like the same play the other day when he got picked off with Stoddard. He started to lean, and he came out over quick on him.
Omar Marino gets back to the bag. 0-1 the count. Foley back up to the plate. Marino takes his lead. No score, 7th inning. Jim Palmer, John Candelaria, and Candelaria has just come out for a hitter. Another throw to first. Marino back in. Palmer, the youngest to pitch a shutout in the World Series, way back in 1966 when he shut out Sandy Koufax from the Dodgers, locked up scoreless in the 7th inning tonight. Strike 1 pitch, Foley sprays it foul. Off first base out of play. That'll slice upstairs, 0-2. And so Marino has been thoroughly tied up at first base.
Very surprised, because if you have any film on Palmer at all, you know his leg kick, you know how long it takes him to go to the plate. This man stole 70-some bases this year. I'm just surprised with Marino. I know Marino's on his own. He has to be on his own. He's been on his own all year.
He's been intimidated in this series, both with the bat and when he does get on first. 0-2 to count. Now you have a battle. Foley, who doesn't strike out only 14 times all year, hanging tough over the plate. There goes Marino, and the fastball fouled away. Now 0-2, as a fan sitting back watching, figures to be a bad time to go. You're kind of thinking pitch out.
I was thinking pitch out 2 in a row, to be honest. I thought Dempsey, as long as he had him 2 strikes and no balls, and knowing Marino likes to run, that he's going to give him 2 pitch outs.
Well, he didn't, and he was going, and Foley fouled it off. 0-2. Back out for the moment. 1 away. Top of the 7th. No score. Marino was going on that one. Takes his lead again. Palmer on and off the rubber. Now back on again. Rick Dempsey wig-wagging a sign out. Marino leaning on his left leg to get back. Now he has to dive back. I tell you, they've got him pretty well scared over there.
What they've done on him, if you watch, as Palmer starts up, he moves off. So they have had film on him. He likes to move off as the pitcher's starting into his stretch. So what they're doing is they're starting in and then firing over.
When he takes his lead, he puts most of his weight on his left leg, the leg near the bag. And then they're hoping to catch him transferring the weight. There's the throw, and he dives back. Boy, you talk about scouting. I mean, they almost got him coming up off the bag. Murray took a swipe at him as he was coming up out of the dirt. Marino had kept his left hand on the bag. Jerry Newdecker of the American League, the umpire right there. There he goes, and the pitch is a bouncer off the glove of Palmer. Down to Garcia. He can't handle it. The throw to first by Dower, no good. Chico Garcia was on the dead run, and even though the ball went off Palmer's glove, Chico couldn't handle it. Dower made the throw to first too late. And you have runners at first and second with 1 out. We'll see how they rule it. Palmer slowed it down. Maybe Garcia was off stride and could not handle the ball because Palmer deflected it, and it will go as a base hit for Foley. 2 on, 1 out, and Dave Parker at the plate. Foley with 2 hits now, and Tim Stoddard gets up in the Baltimore bullpen. Dennis Martinez now joins Tim Stoddard. Evidently, Stanhouse just couldn't do it. Here comes Palmer, and the first one is high, ball 1. In the 7th, with 1 out, Marino single to right. Foley bounces one off Palmer's mitt that Garcia can't handle. Dower did, but too late. And with 2 on, 1 out, 1-0 to Parker. Robbed of a hit by DeCinces, struck out and walked. Palmer set, Jim delivers, and it's line foul down the left field line back in the lower deck. 1-1.
You know, it's been better off had Palmer not tipped that ball because Garcia was covering on the play. It would have been a perfect double play. He was right on the bag.
So the other day, Blyleven slowed the ball down, and the Bucks came up with a big double play, Garner to Foley, because of the deflection. This time, the deflection got in the way for Baltimore, and the Pirates trying to cash it in. No score, 1 out in the 7th inning. Palmer checking Dempsey, and big Dave Parker waiting. 1-1 pitch. Fastball is a one-hopper that pulls Dower and goes through into right center. Marino scores, and over to third goes Foley as the throw goes into second. Dower seemed to be going one way and the ball the other.
That ball was hit awful hard, though. I'll tell you, I don't know. It would have been a great play had he come up with it.
It looked like Dower was angry as if when the ball hit, it spun the other way, and it wound up in right center. So the Bucks, first on Foley's base hit, straight through. Straight hit. 1-0 Pittsburgh, and Wilbur Stargell the batter. 1 run, 7 hits for the Pirates. No run, 6 hits for Baltimore. Stargell fouled out, flied out, and struck out. And of course, they're hoping to get a fly ball from him now, at least. So Palmer in the jam. Right foot on the rubber. Looks in to get a sign. Jim ready to pitch to Stargell. Fastball and a high fly ball to left field. Ayala has to go way back. Tagging Foley, he will score. Tagging is Parker. Heading for second, he's in there. So Stargell moved them both up. And it's 2-0 Pittsburgh, top of the 7th inning. Coming up. Wilbur Stargell picking up his 5th run batted in after Dave Parker had picked up his 4th RBI. 2 down, and here's Milner. Of course, he's got nothing but slow stuff. With Parker at second, Palmer is set. Looks back, now comes outside, off speed, ball 1. So the big play is that bouncer off Palmer's mitt that fooled Garcia. As Sparky said, might have been a double play otherwise. The 1-0 pitch, Milner takes high, ball 2. Bill Madlock on deck. Palmer allowed 2 runs in his first game with Pittsburgh. And they touched him up for 2 here in the 7th inning tonight to lead 2-0. Milner hit back to the box, walked and grounded to short. The 2-0 pitch on the way. Swung on a fly ball into right center field. Singled in along with Renicky, and it's Renicky making the catch. However, 3 hits and a scoring fly ball. And at the end of 6.5, Pirates 2, Baltimore 0.
When you want to know something important, you ask an expert. To learn how large a role vision plays in learning, we asked an optometrist.
The task of learning is considered to be about 85% visual in nature. Many people, although they may be unaware of it, cannot use both eyes together at the same time. They may be totally unaware of the fact that they're only using one eye, and therefore not getting the best possible vision that they are capable of.
How would this problem affect a school child?
This very often interferes with the learning process. They may not know that this is the cause, but the manifestation may be, especially in a child, a retardation in reading. They may be reading below grade level, and nobody can find out the reason for it, simply because the child has never had a complete vision examination to point out the problem.
Is your child seeing as well as he should? The American Optometric Association says, see a vision care specialist.
Oriole Stadium in Baltimore. The Pirates leading the Orioles 2-0. Bottom of the seventh inning. Ken Sitcovey has been brought in from the Pirate bullpen to try and save this one. Remember, John Candelaria was the pitcher of record. He inherited those 2 runs, so John should be the winning pitcher. Sitcovey is in his 4th game. He has saved 1. He lost 1. If necessary, Game 7 right here tomorrow evening from Memorial Stadium. Airtime 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time on the CBS Radio Network. John Milner made the last out, so Chuck Tanner will put John Candelaria's spot to be occupied by Bill Robinson as Bill takes over in left field. And you can put Sitcovey in John Milner's spot. Boy, these fans are something, aren't they?
They're wild here. Wild Bill getting them going.
Bottom of the 7th, 2-0 Pittsburgh. Doug DeCince, Gary Renicky, and now Al Bumbry is out on deck to hit for Renicky and Rich Dower. Sitcovey into the windup. Right-handed deal, sinker, swung on and missed. You remember, when Sitcovey had the bad time, it was the left-hand hitters who gave it to him. John Lowenstein and Terry Crowley coming off the bench. He's hitting a pinch hit double with the bases loaded. So Weaver will no doubt go to some left-handed bats. Strike 1 pitch, sinker, a little low, 1-1. Ken Sitcovey, 94 games during the regular season, and he's in 4 of 6 in the World Series. Now the 1-1 pitch to DeCince. Outside and high, ball 2, 1-1. Pirates 2, Baltimore nothing, bottom of the 7th. DeCince outside a punt and grounded out, both trips against Candelaria. The 2-1 pitch almost hit him inside. Ball 3. Boy, you don't think they are just putting the whole ball game on Sitcovey's shoulders. It's standing room only in the Pirate bullpen.
Blyleven and Jackson down in the bullpen again.
So Bert Blyleven said he wanted to get his innings in, and he's on call. 3-1 to DeCince. Sitcovey deals. Ground ball foul outside of third, 3-2. Candelaria, in 6 innings, made 64 pitches. That's not bad. That's only 11 pitches an inning. That's
It was outstanding. He kept that finger down and away, and the only time he ever got hurt when he got up.
And of those 64 pitches, 47 strikes. 3-2 to Doug DeCince. Sitcovey ready, delivers. Busted bat, a ground ball to short. Foley has it and gets it. He jammed it in on the thumbs. He cracked the handle, 1 away. So Renicky due up, and Al Bumbry will come up and bat for him. Bumbry with 3 hits. 3 singles in the series, hitting only 176. Bumbry coming up. Still up after that is Dower. John Lowenstein came out on deck, and John now goes back towards the dugout for a minute. The left-hand hitting center fielder at the plate. Sitcovey ready, delivers. Fastball outside. Ball 1. The The Pirates 2, Baltimore nothing. Bottom of the 7th inning, 1 away. They pull the corners up. Stargell even with the bag at first. Madlock on the grass at third. And they're playing Bunbury to go the other way to left field. Sinker on the outside corner for a strike. 1-1. If Al ever got a ball to full, wide open spaces in right center. Although Stargell now gives him just about all of right field. The Cubbies 1-1 pitch is pulled in the air down the right field line. Parker coming over in the corner and makes the catch. So Bunbury got a pitch to full, but hit a fly ball.
Hit in the wrong direction, though. That thing knocked out to right field. He'll catch anything from the line to right center.
And he did. 2 down. Now Rich Dower due up, and evidently they will go to the bench again. Of course, you have Billy Smith, who's a switch hitter, among others. Lowenstein was out on deck. And Billy Smith is going to come up and bat, and he will be officially introduced in a moment. And that voice in the background doing the public address assistant here in Baltimore for 10 years. Old friend and marvelous right-hander for the Dodgers, Rex Barney. Billy Smith, switch hitter, batting 167, 1 for 6. Madlock right at the bag, but everybody else back. And the first pitch to Smitty hitting left-handed is high. Ball 1, 1-0. Of course, for Weaver, he still has Crowley, Kelly, and Lowenstein to pinch hit left-handed. The 1-0 pitch on the way. Jacoby's sinker is beaten foul off to the right of the plate. 1-1. 2 down in the 7th inning. Pittsburgh, 2 runs, 7 hits. Baltimore, no runs, 6 hits. Another tough one. Now the 1-1 pitch on the way. Sinker hit to the hole and through into right field, base hit. So Billy Smith comes off the bench and singles sharply to right. Rick Dempsey, before he came up, looked over his shoulder as if to say, is Lowenstein or Crowley going to hit for me? And the answer is no. Dempsey will bat for himself. I've lost track now, but it seems to me at one stage, Earl Weaver's pinch hitters were 9 for 11. They're 1 for 2 tonight as Billy Smith singles. Boy, when he sends them up there, they do the work.
Yeah, they've had pretty good success with the pinch hitters, and Terry Crowley's coming up on the on-deck circle now.
So Dempsey at the plate with 2 outs. 2-0 Pittsburgh in the 7th. Jacoby, a sidearm off-speed pitch, and Dempsey out in front of it. 0-1. Terry Crowley is on deck to hit for Jim Palmer, but Dempsey has to extend the inning. 2 outs. Each side with 7 hits. Stargell holding the bag on Smith. Jacoby ready. The strike 1 pitch on the way. Breaking ball swung on and missed strike 2. Of course, seeing Billy Smith come off the bench and single, you know that, like that sword of Damocles hanging over his head, those left-handed bats can still cause Jacoby a lot of trouble. And Earl has 3 of them. Crowley, Kelly, and Lowenstein. 0-2 the count to Dempsey. Kent ready. String bean right-handed sinker is fouled at the plate. Still 0-2.
Those right-handers don't seem to have much luck against him, though, Vince.
No, he's mean. Jacoby takes plenty of time working on a new ball. Dempsey struggling with the count 0-2. Terry Crowley on deck. Jacoby plants the right foot. Now lifts his head and looks into Ed Odd, a check of Billy Smith. And the strike 2 pitch, side armor got him swinging. So Dempsey can't handle him and strikes out. 1 hit and a man left, and at the end of 7, Pirates 2, Baltimore nothing.
You got roots. I got roots. Cheerleaders in the sky got roots. Everything that breathes got higher than roots. And every time we put a tree, we're breaking up the family. Birds got roots. Bees got roots.
has been a public service message on behalf of this station, the Ad Council, your state foresters, the Forest Service, Smokey Bear, and every living thing.
We're moving to the 8th inning at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, with the Pirates leading the Orioles 2-0. Billy Smith, who batted for Rick Dower, stays in the game at second base. And Al Bumbry, who batted for Gary Renicky, takes over in center field. Jim Palmer working what would appear to be his last inning. In fact, he would have come out had Dempsey been able to get on because Crowley was out on deck to bat for him. But Dempsey went down on strikes against Jacoby. So Palmer will pitch to Madlock, then to Ott, and to Garner. But Sparky, we're getting close to what you said at the start of the game. You really thought it was going to go 7.
I thought it was going to go 7 if they beat Flanagan on that fourth ball game, 5th ball game, and they did. And now I just have a strong feeling it's going to go to the 7th game.
Into the 8th inning, Pittsburgh 2, Baltimore 0. Madlock robbed of the hit by DeCinces, walked and flied out Sims. Into the windup. Jim over the top, and the first pitch is hit off the end of the stick. A little dunker into left center field. Bumbry catches up to it. 1 away. So Madlock a little bit out in front of it. Fly ball, 1 down. And Phil Garner coming up after Ed Ott. Ott has grounded out, hit into a force play, and singled, the left-hand hitting catcher. When Baltimore bats in the bottom of the 8th, they have Palmer, Spot, then Garcia, and Ayala. And again to repeat, Crowley, Kelly, and Lowenstein are all waiting for a shot. Ott is 1 for 3. Palmer ready, and Jim delivers. Change is pulled into right field for a base hit. So Palmer tried to get that off-speed pitch in there, and Ott wasn't fooled and ripped it into right. By the way, we were talking a moment ago about Baltimore pinch hitters and their ability to get on base. They've had 6 pinch hits in this series, which ties the World Series record. The 47 Yankees did it. That would be against the Dodgers. The 60 Yankees did it against the Pirates, and the 72 Oakland A's.
Well, I have a feeling we're going to have a new record this series.
Because you've still got those 3 hitters at least to come off the bench for Baltimore. Here's Garner. Singled, hit by a pitch, fly to center. He has had a magnificent series. He fouls it away. We told you earlier that Garner has appeared in 9 of the 10 Pirate double plays. He has 10 hits. 10 hits and 20 at-bats, so he's hitting .500. His 5 runs batted in. Garner has been a thorn in Baltimore's side, offensively and defensively. Bill Robinson, remember, is hitting 9th. The pitch is high, 1-1. Pirates 2, Baltimore 0, top of the 8th. Scoreless for 6. With 1 out, Marino single to right, and then the key break, perhaps. Foley hit a bouncer. Palmer leaped in the air and got the fingertips of his glove on it, but that appeared to bother Garcia, who was breaking to the bag. The ball got by Kiko. Dower fielded it and threw the first too late. And they parlayed that break into a 2-run inning. Fastball foul back. Parker then hit a shot by Dower for a base hit to get a run over. Sargent's fly ball picked up the other, and that's it. 2-0 Pittsburgh.
And the strange part, Baltimore's so good defensively all year, and that's the thing in this ballgame that's really cost them.
No errors, but it was one of those plays. Garcia just unable to handle a deflected ball of Palmer's glove. Garner waiting 1-2. Ott held on at first by Eddie Murray. Palmer to a stretch and backs off the rubber. Set and the 1-2 pitch. Off speed, and it's whacked to left field, but Ayala misjudges it. Evidently, it took off on him, bounced over his head, and then cleared the little fence for a ground rule double. And there run is at second and third and one out. So the slow curveball is blackjack, and Ayala appeared to be fooled. I don't know whether he lost the ball or not.
I don't know, Vince. That was a funny play because he started in, and you could almost see the ball was taken off.
So there's a big break for the Pirates because they can really give Jacoby something to lean on in the bottom of the eighth. They have runners at second and third, one out, instead of two out and a man at first. And remember, Bill Robinson, the left fielder, is batting ninth. Jim Farmer's overall World Series total, 3-1.
The tough part here is they have to pitch to Robinson with one out because you can't double Moreno, the next hitter.
And extra tough, they have to bring the infield out. And the first pitch to Robinson, fastball, hits the left on a line. Ayala charges, gloves it. Tagging at third is Ott. The catcher will score. Holding at second base is Garner, and it is 3-0 Pittsburgh. And a big play, and Ayala having trouble on that drive by Garner. And now a fly ball. It might otherwise have been the third out. The inning is very much alive. 3-0 Pittsburgh. So Bill Robinson picks up a run batted in. 3-0 Pirates. And Omar Marino, who has 2 hits and 4 trips coming up. Palmer's going to blow on his hand, and he'll leave the mound before he does it. This is Jim Palmer's last inning of work, and he's down 3-0. The right-hander checking, Marino, tall, slender, left-hand hitting center fielder. Palmer delivers off speed with a breaking ball, and it's low, ball 1, 1-0. So Ott single to right. Garner hit a drive that appeared to confuse Ayala, and he ran under it. They went for a ground rule double. Robinson lines to Ayala without scoring. And with 2 down, Marino trying to pick up Garner. The 1-0 pitch, off speed, fouled away, 1-1.
Since Garner's got him tricked, whatever he hits is going to be a base hit, whether it's a line drive or a ball like that. He's got him tricked, I think.
He's had some series. Wow. Garner, of course, had some World Series experience with the A's. 1-1 to count. Again, Palmer, dissatisfied with the baseball, makes another exchange with Paul Runge. Jim ready. 1-1 pitch to Marino high. Ball 2, 2-1. But when you think about it, how great a pitcher Palmer still is after 13 years. They took a deflected ball that they were unable to handle, and then apparently a misjudged ball. Otherwise, he might be just 0-0.
Right now, he's still having shut out.
2-1. The count to Marino. Palmer ready, Jim's 2-1 pitch. Change, down low, swung on and missed. 2-2, a textbook changeup. But Marino takes a hike, he has to think that over. Palmer will give way for a pinch hitter in the bottom of this 8th inning. Pirates 3 runs, 9 hits. Here's a 2-2 pitch to Marino. Change, scoped into right center for a base hit. Rounding third and coming home to score is Garner. The ball bobbled by Bunbury, and Marino's into second base. And it is 4-0 Pittsburgh. That pitch was up, and he jumped on it.
That ball was up, and he didn't want it up there, and Marino just lined him. Marino's starting now. He could be the key thing for this. We have been tonight. He could be the big key for tomorrow's ball game.
Garner brings in the second run of the inning. It is 4-0 Pirates. And Tim Coley, the batter. And the Pirates with 10 hits. Coley waiting and Palmer off the rubber. In the first game in which they lost, the Pirates had 11. The second game they won with 11. Palmer delivers, Coley swings and misses. The next day, they lost on 9. That's the only game. They came back the next day with 17 hits and lost. They had 13 hits Sunday to win. So you get the picture. Only one game had they failed to hit in double figures, and that was 9 hits.
Yeah, you get a real bad feeling that they're keeping that batting average, their team average going up.
Palmer working on Foley. 1 ball and 1 strike. Palmer delivers, and it pops up. Good fastball around the letters. He hit under it. Dempsey around the plate in foul territory makes the catch, and that's it. But a couple of breaks, and Pittsburgh cashed him in. 2 runs on 1, 2, 3 hits, and a scoring fly ball. At the end of 7.5. The Pirates 4, Baltimore nothing. Bottom of the 8th inning at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. The Pirates leading Baltimore 4-0. Jim Palmer due up, and John Lowenstein will bat for him, and then Pat Kelly is on deck to bat for Kiko Garcia. Lowenstein, then Kelly, and then Ayala's spot. 4-0 Pittsburgh, and Ken Jacoby figures to be looking at some left-handed bats. He got the ball up and in to Lowenstein and Crowley, and they burned it in Pittsburgh. Kent ready and delivers. And the first one, a sinker swung on and missed, 0-1. Lowenstein hitting .300 with 3 runs batted in. No balls, 1 strike. Madlock in on the grass. The strike 1 pitch on the way. Jacoby delivers the sinker, swung on and missed. When he keeps the ball down like that, he's murdered.
Has no trouble with left-handers when he keeps the ball from the knees down and keeps it away, and that's what those first 2 pitches were.
0-2. Johnny Lowenstein waiting, and Jacoby into the windup. Sinker got him swinging. What a difference a day makes. So that's 2 strikeouts for Kent Jacoby. Lowenstein batting for Jim Palmer. And now here's Pat Kelly. Kelly is 1 for 2 in the series. Kelly also has a walk. Kelly is the 4th pinch hitter used by Earl Weaver tonight. 1 of the previous 3 getting aboard the base hit by Billy Smith.
How would you like to be hitting 400 and get pinch hit for?
Isn't that something? So Garcia comes out, which means Mark Belanger will get back in the lineup if he can remember where shortstop is. It's been a while since he's played. The pitch to Kelly taken on the outside corner, 0-1. Bottom of the 8th, Pirates 4, Baltimore nothing. Jacoby trying to save it for Candelaria. Sinker is lifted to left field. Moving in and waiting for it now is Bill Robinson, and makes the catch for the out. 2 down in the 8th, and suddenly, for the first time in the series, it is very quiet in Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, Wild Bill's been trying to work them up, but the boys, they make a little yell, but there's no strongness in their voice.
No, it's very quiet here. The batter now will be Terry Crowley, batting for Benny Ayala. As far as left-handed bats, he's used Billy Smith, Crowley, Bumbry, Kelly, and Lowenstein, with Bumbry and Smith staying in the game.
Jacoby don't care tonight because he's keeping every ball down and keeping every ball on the outside.
Crowley is 1 for 2. It was a double against Jacoby. He takes that sinker for a strike. 0-1. Stargell deep at first. The outfield fanned out, shaded slightly to right. Strike 1 pitch on the way. Outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. 4 runs, 10 hits for the Pirates. No runs, 7 hits for Baltimore. Here's a 1-1 pitch on the way. Fastball in there. He came in with it, but it still had the bottom drop out of it, and they count 1-2. The Pirates in 6 games have 71 hits. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Sinker hits by the mound. Charging Garner. Picks it up. Throws back to Stargell and gets him. Good play. So Baltimore very quiet in the 8th inning. And at the end of 8, Pirates 4, Baltimore nothing.
We hear a lot these days about children who have trouble reading. This is Marlo Thomas. My involvement in producing children's records and television programs has taught me that kids love stories and want to read. To make them good readers, you have to start early and introduce them to books. You also need to get them used to the idea that reading is fun, because it is. These are two of the simple tricks to reading. The library is another. Almost every library I know has a collection of books and learning materials, especially for children. The children's room in a library is one of the most exciting places to be. Lots of libraries have story hours and give puppet shows. These are wonderful tools for teaching kids to read. If you are a child or a parent and you haven't checked out the library's children's place, do it. You'll get carried away.
And you and me are
A public service message from the American Library Association.
As it has been an exciting baseball season, don't you wish you and your family got to see more games? How many times have you said, boy, I wish we had tickets to that game? Well, now's the time to do something about it. Now's the time to make sure you and your family don't miss out on next season's exciting games. Call your favorite team. Ask about 1980 season tickets. I'm sure they'll have a ticket plan to fit your needs. Do it now. Join the 43 million fans this year who enjoyed Major League Baseball at the ballpark. Baseball fever. Catch it now for 1980. The preceding has been brought to you on behalf of Major League Baseball. We go to the ninth inning. The Pirates leading Baltimore 4-0. A couple of changes since they batted for Palmer. John Lowenstein, who batted for Jim Palmer, stays in the game in left field and will bat ninth. Mark Belanger comes in to play shortstop, and he will go in the number 1 slot. And if you're keeping score with us, the new pitcher, Tim Stoddard, will go in the number 2 spot, occupied by Ayala. Then he gave way to Terry Crowley. Tim Stoddard, 1-0 in 2 appearances. He finished 1 game. He worked a total of 3 2/3 innings. You remember in that big Baltimore victory when they were down 6-3. Baltimore pulled it out 9-6, and Stoddard got the win. He also had a bouncing single to drive in a run in that game. So Stoddard and Jacoby, but the pitchers of record are Candelaria and Palmer. Jim Palmer went 8 innings, a little better fielding, and who knows, it might be scoreless, but he didn't get it. So Palmer is charged with 4 runs and 10 hits. Dave Parker, Wilbur Stargell, and then Kent Jacoby in that order. And Chuck Hanner out to talk to Paul Runge. I think he wants to make sure is Belanger batting 1 and Stoddard 2. Did you ever know a manager who kept score of a game, Sparky? In other words, you can look and say, hey, this guy's 3 for 3. They all memorize everything.
They memorize everything. I've never seen a manager keep score. He don't know how.
Here's Dave Parker. Robbed of a hit by DeCinces. Struck out, walked, and singled. Stoddard without a windup, and at 6-7, his fastball is lifted to left center. Bumbry and Lowenstein. Bumbry on the run makes the catch for the out.
I wouldn't know how to keep score. I've never kept score in my life, and I wouldn't have any idea. In fact, until about 2 years ago, I didn't even know the numbers of the position.
But I'll bet that after a game, you could almost remember every play one after the other.
Any ball game, I've always told people, any game right after the game, if you want to ask me who had their hit, how many they have, I'll go right down the line on each guy and tell you exactly what he hit.
That's concentration. Here's Stargell, and he takes the strike. That's why the other day I just knew that anyone who managed had to love cards because you'd have to remember just cards and everything else.
And you remember their face when you go down their lineup, too.
The strike 1 pitch, Stargell grounds his foul. The other thing with anybody in baseball, you can talk to somebody about a player 20 years ago, and the first thing you do is say, oh, yeah, a left-handed hitter or left-hand pitcher, whatever. That's the first thing you think of.
You know, it's a funny thing. After you see them in their uniforms, you're in the league with them a while, you can tell them exactly. If you see them on the street, you wouldn't know who they were.
Sure. Stargell has to get another bat. 1 out, 9th inning, 4-0 Pittsburgh. Vin Scully along with Sparky Anderson. If you're not keeping score and you wonder about Baltimore in the bottom of the 9th, they have Ken Singleton, Eddie Murray, Doug DeCinces, and then Al Bumbry, the center fielder. Stargell gets the new bat, brackish brown in color, and he brings it up to the plate. The Pirates, who came in here with a team batting average of .339, and they pile up 10 more hits tonight. Stoddard ready. The pitch to Stargell, a high fly ball into deep left field. Back goes Lowenstein on the track and right at the fence. Makes the catch for the out. For left-hand hitters in the league, that you remember. Who has the strongest power the other way?
Willie Stargell. He's the one man I said that can hit a ball out to left field like a dead pull hitter. He can hit it straight away, and then as you know, he's got about 6 or 7 feet in the third catch.
Anybody in the American League who goes the other way with a lot of power?
Murray. Murray has the best power, I think, the other way.
2 out, and here's Ken Jacoby. Stoddard delivers, fastball drilled a little low, ball 1. 1-0. 4 runs, 10 hits, no errors for the Pirates. They scored 2 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th. It was a magnificent duel, scoreless through 6 between Palmer and Candelaria. Pitch outside to Jacoby, ball 2, 2-0. Stoddard reminds me of somebody like a Dick Raditz, or somebody who comes in and just breathe and fire.
Well, he threw very hard, Vince, early, and then he got his arm hurt.
The fastball in there for a strike, 2-1.
He was their number 1 guy in the bullpen before he got hurt.
Tim Stoddard working on Ken Jacoby, and the 2-1 fastball swung on and missed, 2-2. 4-0 Pirates trying to stay alive Sunday, succeeded. Trying to stay alive tonight, it would appear they have succeeded, although you can't take anything for granted. But it looks like we'll go to the limit. Ground ball wide to first, backhanded by Murray. Overhands to Stoddard in time. Just hung it for him. Jacoby is gone, and so are the Pirates. And for Pittsburgh, that is only the second time tonight they've been retired in order. At the end of 8 1/2, 4-0 Pirates.
Hey, Norm. Is it Norm? Norman. Hey, Norman. I've forgotten certainly. Looking good, looking good.
Well, I know you're not going to believe this. My kid is 3.5 years old. He can already throw a football 15 feet with his left hand.
No kidding.
Kid's right-handed.
Right-handed, he throws the ball 15 feet.
It's hard to believe, but it's true.
No, I can believe it. I can believe it very easily when you figure that my kid is 3 years old.
3, huh?
And he can play the piano with both hands.
Oh,
3 years old.
Let me tell you something. Have you seen the Empire State Building?
The one on 34th Street?
Yeah. I got another kid. Built a model of the
Children
Empire.
are smarter today, but sometimes they get into things they shouldn't. A child can die from accidental poisoning. To prevent that, use safety packaging. It may be a bother, but it's worth it. Lock up harmful medicines and household products. Pay close attention to all labels. A child can't read a label, but you can. Because children are smarter today, you have to be too.
That's a miniature King Kong on there.
Yeah.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission.
Well, as the song says, they've gone about as far as they can go. Bottom of the 9th inning. The Pirates 4 runs, 10 hits. Baltimore, no runs, 7 hits. The difference in the attack, the Pirates have been retired in order only twice by piling up 10 hits. Baltimore has managed only 2 men to get to second base.
No question tonight. Pittsburgh Ball Club. Candelaria did a super job, as you said, and Jacoby, believe me, I'm not going to second guess anybody, but there ain't no way Jacoby's going to give this away now.
Jacoby will be pitching to the heart of the Baltimore lineup, and there's still plenty of heart here. Let's pause 5 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS Radio Network.
This is SCN Radio, 790 Fort Clayton and 1420 Fort Davis.
Left-handed against Jacoby. He had great success against Candelaria. He went 3 for 3 right-handed. So Singleton now has 10 hits in his 24 at-bats in the series. But only 2 runs batted in. Jacoby into the windup, and the first pitch to Singleton. A strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Crowd hoping to see Baltimore come back yet again. The strike 1 pitch. Sinker low and outside, 1-1. He hasn't come close to making the mistakes he made the other day when he got the ball up and in to the left-handed batter.
No, this is the Jacoby that did the great job all year. The guy you've seen, the guy I've seen over there for 2 or 3 years. He's not going to let anything get out of hand tonight.
Jacoby is asked to pitch 3 innings tonight. Can he come back tomorrow?
He can come back. They all come back tomorrow.
1-1, the count is Singleton. Kent into the windup, and the 1-1 pitch. Sinker fouled away. Off to the left, slicing to the second level, and dropped down below. 1-2. 53 Taking in Game 6.
That's a great thing for Charlie Jacoby. The other day, ball game got away from him, and tonight he puts him right back in the seventh inning when they go ahead.
Jacoby ready, and the 1-2 pitch overhand, swung on and missed. How about that?
Overhand and a good breaking ball.
So Singleton is struck out as Jacoby for the first time in a while. Came over the top, looked like a hard slider in on the hands. Singleton, down he goes. For Jacoby. 1 out. Eddie Murray 0 for 3 batting right-handed against Candelaria. Hit into a double play, grounded to third, and hit into a fourth play. And he's struggling in this series. And of course, Baltimore's just not going to score. If Murray and Singleton are quiet, they each have only 2 RBIs.
Well, you look at the Pittsburgh pitching staff. They were 430 going into the night. If they pitch a shutout tonight, it'll drop probably down in the 3s. So actually, they have been bombarding with the bats and been doing a real good job with their pitching.
Eddie Murray hitting left-handed. 1 out in the 9th inning. Pirates 4, Baltimore nothing. Jacoby, both feet on the rubber, looks over at Madlock. He's about wide and even with the bag at third. The pitch, side armor, and the sinker outside. Ball 1. 1-0. Doug DeCince on deck. Outfield deep, out straight away. Marino slightly off the mark. And there's a high fly ball down the right field line. Parker coming in the corner. He's under it now and makes the catch for the out. So 2 down in the 9th inning.
You know, Benny, and so far in the 6 ball games, Baltimore scored 25 runs, but they scored 5 in 1 inning, they scored 6 in another, and they scored 3 in another. So that's 14 of their 25 runs in 6 games in 3 innings.
Yeah, they haven't really hit with any degree of consistency, and the Pirates have been wearing the ball out. So Scott McGregor will be Johnny on the spot tomorrow night. We're not really sure about Chuck Tanner's selection. Sparky, who do you lean to?
Well, if Robinson, he hasn't thrown in about 3 days, but I understand he's not feeling too good. I just have a sneaky suspicion it'll be Blyleven.
DeCince swings doesn't get it on 1. And Keeshan has been up 3 times tonight, so that makes him doubtful.
And I doubt if he'll go.
For the strike 1 pitch, side arm is swung on and missed. 0-2 to Doug DeCince. Jacoby comes in and trying to restore order, leading 4-0. He's retired 6 in a row since Billy Smith singled. He's gotten 8 of the 9 batters he has faced. And the strike 2 pitch on the way, swung on and missed. See you later. Kent Jacoby and the Pirates, both resembling the team we're accustomed to seeing, and they just thoroughly stopped Baltimore 4-0. DeCince striking out. That's 4 strikeouts for Kent Jacoby. What a difference from Saturday's game.
Well, you could see it early. Every pitch he threw was where he wanted to, and he had super stuff.
I would think the feeling here in Baltimore now is more than uneasiness, because here comes Pittsburgh.
It better be uneasy because the Pirates want to do something for the 4th time in the history of the World Series.
Down 3 games to 1, they're trying to come back. They have caught Baltimore, and now it boils down to anybody's guess. Scott McGregor definitely going for Baltimore. And Chuck Tanner, of course, maybe will make the announcement sometime tonight. Again, there's no rush. You can wait until tomorrow. The total for Pittsburgh, and they did all the hitting in the 7th and in the 8th, 2 runs in each inning. 4 runs, 10 hits, no errors. For Baltimore, no runs, 7 hits, and 1 error. The winning pitcher, John Candelaria, with a save for Kent Jacoby, and the losing pitcher, Jim